Oh my God.
All right, so we're live right now, everybody. So whatever you say is now going to go out to the entire no one who's listening. So and we've got also.
Mine's not because I forgot to share it before you went live.
Oh
So now
no!
I got to do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh no!
There's like a 20-second lead off for Facebook, so
I probably should have told you all, hey, we're going live.
What do you mean? Wasn't there a countdown?
I didn't see a countdown. I don't know what you're talking about.
Should have put a countdown. Daggone it!
What happened to the countdown?
Foiled yet again.
Why is there no countdown, Aaron? Please.
Gosh, you'd think the least we could do is have a 3-second countdown.
I mean, a countdown of something, just
how hard is it?
I tell you what, I am pathetic. I'm a horrible producer / everything.
Wow, I can't believe you've gone. You've done. It's
okay. What time do you have? What time do you have right now?
8:03.
Oh my! What?
8:02.
8:02 on
I
my
have
phone. 8:03 on my computer. 8:02 on my phone.
I have 9:01 on my Big Mac. I have 9:02 on my MacBook, and I have 9:02 on my phone. So I'm going by the 9:02. So we've got 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go 9:02 on the phone.
Did you 9:0210?
Were you guys affected by the Verizon outage this weekend?
I have AT&T. We have sucky outages all the time.
I have T-Mobile.
Yeah, I mean AT&T is probably the worst cell phone service I've ever had in my entire life. You're sitting in the heart of Florence. Your phone says Florence, Kentucky. Your phone says 5G, and what you get is spinning wheels. Absolutely nothing. I'm like, what is going? Why am I not getting anything? So we've got 15 seconds, by the way.
What's up, Timmy the pilot?
Okay, good. We're live over on DLive. All right, all right, everybody go dark. Where did he go? Where is it? Oh, crud. Welcome to the breakdown, everybody. This is Aaron Barker broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep behind enemy lines, asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible study and sent to therapy. Thank you all so very much for the opportunity to be in your vehicle, office, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, henhouse, outhouse, or doghouse, wherever it is you may be listening to the breakdown today. We're all back. The full crew is totally assembled. The Avengers have assembled. We're ready for world domination.
I feel like it's more like Wonder Twins unite.
The ambiguously gay trio.
Form of.
Whoa.
We've got Erica Misinformation Sour back with us. Erica, we'll get some scoop on your vacay in just a minute. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Wow, all that introduction, like raw, and you go, good morning.
I'm like, I have my voice back to apparently, so I'm trying to conserve.
Okay, gotcha. And then Bryan, the bearded pastor. Bryan, welcome. How are you today, sir?
Man, I am doing fan-flippin-tastic.
That was such a Christian answer. Fan-flippin-tastic. Welcome to the house of the Lord this morning.
Well, I'm glad that
Let's pass the offering plate.
I'm glad that my greeting can be deemed as Christian.
Acceptable?
Acceptable, yeah, exactly.
Mine wasn't.
It's okay. Yours is like, I'm dealing with
I made fun of both y'all, but my humor is so subtle. All right, a lot of stuff to get into today. We've got some crazy. We're living in an alternate universe. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We also have some politics, some schmacksmeen or something that rhymes with schmacksmeen news coming up, and of course, for those who are listening, my little weekly blurb about RFK. All right, folks, here's a couple of quick pieces of information here, just something to get us started. We're going to dig deep into the chum bucket here, plumb the depths of the internet's most fascinating accounts of life and of our world, And we're going to go to Pink. This is a Pink concert over in London. And I wonder here, I'm pulling the video up here, but I wonder if these rock stars or these people on these, reality shows that are like American Idol and The Voice and all that stuff, if they ever stop for a second and get a smidge embarrassed about the way that they're dressed, because honestly, they look kind of foolish, but that's not the point of why I'm bringing this up. So Pink is in the middle of a concert, and there's a fan out in the audience just enjoying themselves, right? And all of a sudden, this fan tosses something up on the stage. Pink picks it up, and this is what she finds out.
This is your mom? I don't know how to feel about this.
So Pink is performing a concert. Somebody throws a bag up on the stage. Pink picks it up and looks at the audience member and goes, "This is your mom?" A fan threw their mom's ashes onto stage while
What?
Pink was performing.
Oh,
Amazing. That's amazing. What kind of fan dedication is that? Unless, okay, let's take into account, could have been the mom's wish. You don't know.
So evidently she was a big Pink fan. The mom was. And it said someone gave their mom's ashes. This is comments. Someone gave their mother's ashes to Pink. I need y'all to have boundaries like, girl, what? The witness captioned the video. Another Twitter user claimed to know the reason behind the ashes being tossed and alleged. So my friends were near this lady, and the backstory is her mom couldn't get out as much as she was so ill when she was alive. So this lady takes her ashes different places. So she get out now. It's everyone's cup of tea. Gosh, these people's grammar, man.
Seriously.
But if it gives this woman comfort, then that's up to her, not for me. You know what? Well, here's the deal. Like, so her mom evidently couldn't get out, and they were Pink fans and stuff. But if I'm anywhere, and I get recognized for my fame all the time when I go out in public, right?
Yeah, sure. Right? Are
Constantly.
you Aaron Barker? Oh, God.
Yeah, I
Can't
get
believe
it all the
it.
time. Mostly it
he's waiting. He's waiting for somebody to say, "Hey, are you Aaron Barker? I think I see the countdown."
but like, so like
Are
I
you that breakdown guy?
yeah, are you on Mojo? Are you on the Crusade channel? And my wire is all tangled up. I'm just all tangled up right now. But anyway, but like if I know I'm walking down, I'm like, hey, cool, what's up? I'm Barker in my Hawaiian shirt, and somebody like smacks me in the side of the face, and they're like, that's my mom's ashes. What the hell? I don't care.
Okay.
You're throwing your mom's ashes at people. I mean, like I can understand, like you have a little sprinkle. You're like, here, mom, and sprinkle a little bit of the ashes around the stage. Like, mom's here with me.
Well,
Mom's
I
here.
had
Chucking the bag at someone.
It's
I
funny.
would have liked to have gotten to look at the fan that threw it. That maybe would have answered some questions. What kind of depravity are we talking about here? Because, yeah, I can't imagine. Can't you just give it to someone and ask them to deliver it to her backstage? I don't know. It's kind of suspect taking you. It's weird. It's just weird.
I know
It is
I know a family who took the ashes from their deceased father and put them in shotgun shells and shot them across his property
while they're playing Dust in the Wind in the background.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
Okay, wait.
Is there not some kind of like?
Look, I
don't know. I
kind of like what?
Whatever.
I've had family member that passed away. This is so horrible. And she was instrumental in the formation of the city park, and she gave piano lessons, and she was like functional in the church, and she was just a big advocate for the whole place. And there was this huge garden right in the middle of town, and it was all her doing. And when she passed away, we literally went out there with like coffee cups, and we had all of her ashes, and that was the whole intention, was everybody could take their coffee cup and spread it somewhere in the park. That was what the plan was. Except it was like 25-mile-an-hour winds, and people were literally trying to scoop her ashes out, and you would pick it up and try to put it out of the cup, and it would just blow all over people.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
it was the most insane scene ever. It's horrible. No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
That's yeah, that would be that would be like my luck. They would, somebody would be like, "Hey, could you spread this somewhere?"
Right?
And I'd be like, "Yeah." And I go to dump it, and then there's this huge wind, and it blows in my face and goes down my lungs. And at that point, I would just, I don't know what I would do if I sucked down ashes like that. There was a story. It was like one of these weird obsessions where this girl carried her boyfriend's ashes around and ate them like a dipping stick. Remember that candy?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you remember
What?
that candy though? It was
Okay,
like,
that's going a little far. I
yeah, she would
mean,
like lick her finger and she would
is
dip it
that
into
even
the ashes.
safe?
Oh, no, I don't think it is. I don't think it
I
is.
don't know if that's safe. It's definitely not sanitary. I don't know if it's safe.
Definitely, definitely not sanitary. So that was the first thing that I mean, but yeah, like then of course when you look at Pink, she's dressed all crazy, and I always wonder about whether or not these folks actually have any kind of shame when it comes to this. Because we're talking about celebrities and just now, since that's the beginning of this, Taylor Swift came to Cincinnati last night, and she's here. She was here last night and tonight. Not only was she here last night and tonight, but the Cincinnati Reds were playing a game. FCC Soccer was playing a game. They had a match last night. So this weekend's economic impact from Taylor Swift and the two games, Reds and FCC, was supposed to be somewhere around $92 million of economic impact. And that's
Wow,
hotels and food and taxes and all that stuff that's being paid.
that's crazy.
How much of that do you think came just from Taylor Swift?
What did you say the total was again? 92 million?
92 million in economic impact. Yeah.
I would
Ah,
say more than half. Probably
easily.
75%.
I'll give her. She made 68 million of it.
48 million. So you all were
Oh,
close. You all were close.
went
So
a
like
little
40,
high.
yeah. But about $48 million of that is coming from just one person's concert.
That's
Well,
crazy.
Yeah.
isn't this the concert where they were charging like $25,000 a ticket or something?
2,500, I think, for a ticket, and that
Yeah.
wasn't even in the front.
Yeah, there were several people. By the way, you can sound off on this. If you go to breakdradio.com, click on the mic in the bottom right corner, you'll be able to sound off. Leave your first sound off today. Don't be a chicken. Don't be a wuss. Leave your first sound off. We'll play it right here
Don't be a
on the show.
bonus hole.
You'll be walking around and people will want to throw their mom's ashes at you because they heard you on Brian Jackson's show. I mean, the breakdown.
That's right. Don't forget it either. That's the bearded
So,
pastor to you, sir.
so
Wow.
here is one man's. Well, this is a young lady who asked her grandpa about Taylor Swift, and this was his response.
Hi and happy Friday. Papaw, do you know who Taylor Swift is?
No.
Have you never heard the name Taylor
I've
Swift?
heard the name the last few days. That's all I've heard.
Yeah, but you don't know who that is?
No.
She's a very popular country and pop music artist.
She?
Her name.
With a man's name?
Well, Taylor's either. But anywho, she's got a concert sold out in Cincinnati.
I'm not interested in finding out who she is.
All right.
I'm not interested in
Hi,
finding
and
out who she is.
That is hilarious.
Oh man, but I think that's most people.
Who
With a man's name?
with a man's name?
She?
She?
Oh, aren't there some things there right now that you wish you were that ignorant about?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh,
it is
that's-
bliss. Imagine the other things he's not aware of that he just doesn't have to worry about.
we're definitely gonna talk about a couple of those things that you're gonna need ear bleach and eye bleach to
Oh, you don't
completely
even.
cleanse
I
yourself
can't
of.
even wait till we get to the bad theology because Aaron's head's going to explode live on screen.
Oh, thanks, Brian. I'm looking forward to that moment. Looking forward to that.
Right?
Can't wait.
Talk about dark comedy. Jeez.
Yeah, for real. Now this might be an interesting. I don't know if any nerds out there actually played this game. I never played Magic, the card game. Brian, did you play that?
I did not.
I know you were big into the Pokemon Go. Right?
I never played the card game Pokemon Go. I always played the mobile app.
Okay, so but you were into the Pokemon Go game, but not the app. Okay, gotcha. Or you were into the app, but not the card game. Okay,
Yeah, I
that's
never played
I can't.
any card games really, like the
My
Magic the
nerd alert
Gathering.
hurts.
Yeah,
I never played any of it. I never played
I don't even
Magic.
know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, Magic the card game. That was huge back in the 90s. Do you remember Pog?
Was it like Dungeons and Dragons or something? I have no idea what it was.
no, the card game, the way I understand it, my brother was really big into it for a while, but the way I understand it is that a card game has different denominations of, just like a regular deck of cards. There's different denominations that are in the deck. Some of them are characters, some of them are monsters, some of them are magic potions, some of them are action cards, whatever. And you build a deck, and then you of course you shuffle your deck, and it's up to the draw as to what comes up on the deck, but it's your deck. So you go in and you put the kind of monsters in you want. You put the kind of dark energy you want, or light energy, or whatever the game.
Dark
Anyways,
energy.
I'm not trying to geek out, but anyways, it's
Sounds like you already are geeking out.
no, it's a
Deck
little
the
bit of
deck. Okay, got it.
it is a little bit of a game of chance, but there you actually construct a deck, and because you know what the cards do, then as the cards come up, you can play them in that strategy. So just like
This is
with
amazing. This is like, so you just throw the card down and that's like your
that's
here's
the
my white wizard with these
Yeah.
right.
powers and I'm executing them on your card that you threw.
Correct.
This
Yeah.
is
Cool with
riveting.
like executing. It is
Riveting.
riveting, isn't it? Well, here's
Yes.
this. So there was a rare card that was announced, a one of a kind Lord of the Rings trading card. That Hasbro announced, the sacred One Ring card, part of the 1993 game Magic the Gathering, prompting a global scavenge that ended Friday. The Wall Street Journal reported that the odds of finding the card were 0.00003%. But you know what? That's interesting, because the odds of Bryan getting a girlfriend is 0.00002%. So your chances of finding this card.
That's because his standards are way too high.
But anyway,
Of all the things in my life, I don't think that having high standards is a bad thing. Sorry.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said they were too high.
maybe out of place. So the One Ring trading card that was announced was actually worth millions of dollars, and led to a search for this particular card. Let's see, the total amount was like $2.2 million for a playing card.
Mm.
Yeah, so here's what the card looks like for those people who want to be the one to bear it all. Right here it is: one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Those movies are awesome. I'm not a geek, but those movies are great. So we're thrilled to hear a tale of a new ring bearer in possession of the serialized one of one, the One Ring. This journey is finished. But that's what somebody paid or it's now worth, not paid, but it's now worth $2.2 million.
I will
Okay,
say,
I
will
think
say
that's kind
this.
of cool, actually.
It is pretty sweet.
That's
I will-
pretty cool.
I will say this: there's a big news. My brother, like I said, is into the game Magic the Gathering, and because a lot of the folklore and a lot of the stories behind the characters in the Magic the Gathering were very similar to J.R. Tolkien's world of Lord of the Rings. They did do a big conglomeration where they pulled the two universes together. So this is kind of a big deal for the game players that they had the One Ring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
sure. I guess.
Well, I mean, if you remember the legends and if you remember the movies, the One Ring was, like you said, it was the ring that controlled everything. And
Yeah,
so-
one ring to rule them all. Correct.
exactly. So the fact that they made this super rare card at the time that they were combining the two universes, yeah, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal.
To the gamers, Aaron.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, like people right now, this is breaking huge news
Yeah.
that they're doing this, right? Because that's what we cover right here is about. I mean, we do magic and card games and all that stuff.
I mean, it's almost like you just told us about the last season of Friends happening. I don't know. I feel
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be terrible if
That's
you actually?
horrible.
So here we go. This is one of those feel good news stories. An infant was surrendered at a baby box in Kentucky. A baby was surrendered at a baby box in Louisville last week. Officials with Safe Haven Baby Box said the child was surrendered at the Okolona Fire Protection District, which is the first location in Kentucky with a baby box. So you make like night deposits of babies in these boxes. We are thankful to the mother for entrusting the Okolona Fire Department Safe Haven Baby Box in your time of crisis to keep this child safe. It's almost like they have a sponsor and they have to say Oklahoma Fire Department Safe Haven Baby Box whenever they talk about this. I'd like to thank the owners of the Oklahoma Fire Department Safe Haven Baby Box for this wonderful baby save this week. Without them, this great team, and all of our support over at Coca-Cola, we've been able to do this good year time. Sounds like that. But anyway, that was funny in my head. The fire district had the baby box installed in July of 2021. This is the second baby surrendered at a baby box in Kentucky this year. The first baby was surrendered back in February, and that was surrendered in Bowling Green. Since 2017, there have been 32 babies surrendered at baby boxes across the U.S. Officials say they are surrendered. The surrendered infants are immediately taken to a hospital for medical evaluation, probably vaxxed up as well. And then later, the infant is placed with a family who has signed up for fostering to adopt. Those with Safe Haven Baby Boxes say resources are available for the parent to surrender. I thought that was a great story. I mean, like, first, the baby's not aborted. It was not found in a dumpster or a garbage can like that young lady at hospital. If you all saw that story, a girl took her baby that she had whilst in the hospital. She was experiencing labor pains, goes into the bathroom, delivers the baby, and dumps the baby into a garbage can. This happened in a hospital. And now we have this joyous story where someone actually saves their baby by putting it in a baby box, putting him or her in a baby box, not Z, Zim, or Zai. I don't know what the gender of the baby was. I'm not sure what gender the baby decided to be yet. So I can't say.
We haven't had the gender reveal yet. So
right. Yeah. I can't determine exactly what the gender of the baby is. We might be able to determine.
The baby hasn't figured out what its gender is yet.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be an oppressive white male and say that this baby is a boy or a girl because I have not listened to the concerns or needs of the infant yet.
You mean you didn't reach out to it before it was born to ask it if it wanted to be born?
Or better yet, did you ask if it's permission to be born?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's a thing now.
Yeah.
That's right. You know that a UK colonel was actually forced out of the army for a Facebook post saying that men can't be women.
Yep.
Can you believe this here? Yeah. So now here we are. I mean, I'm being a completely white supremacist, white pig, male Christian in the United States of America right now. I'm totally privileged right now.
You are.
I am.
And you're just letting it all hang out there too.
I am. I'm speaking about baby genders. I have no idea what baby genders are out there. But here it says, in a development that epitomizes the rising concerns over the encroachment on free speech, Dr. Kelvin Wright, a distinguished Army Reservist commanding officer, has been compelled to prematurely relinquish his esteemed position in the British Army. His distinguished 14-year tenure marked by an unblemished record in service, including 2 tours. I should be reading this in a different way. His distinguished 14-year tenure, marked by an unblemished record in service, including 2 tours in Afghanistan, has been tragically marred by accusations of substandard behavior stemming from his expression of gender-critical views on Facebook. Gender-critical views. A physician by profession, Dr. Wright had shared a quote on his private Facebook account, which was taken from Fair Play for Women, a prominent group advocating for a preservation of women's sports. The quote he shared: "If women cannot stand in a public place and say men cannot be women, then we do not have women's rights at all." That's what he said, and that's what he was booted from the Army with a distinguished career. That's what he was booted from the Army for.
Again, up is down, down is up, left is right, right is left. And if you say anything that's scientifically proven that they disagree with, guess what? You're a bigot and you are canceled.
Don't be bigots here, everybody.
We had this really deep conversation the other day. Me and a bunch of guys were sitting around talking, and we had this conversation about the fact that it's so dangerous today for anyone who has any kind of moral standards to say anything, anywhere, anytime. Because as soon as you do, all it takes is somebody to just go out on Twitter or go out on Facebook or go out on a YouTube post or whatever other blog spot they can do, TikTok or whatever, and just completely destroy your character and completely tear apart everything that you have built over the years. It's absolutely nuts that it's that much of a cancel culture.
Not only is it a cancel culture, but if I'm not sure if you heard this or not this week, but this week, Michigan House passed a bill that could make using wrong pronouns a felony, finable by up to $10,000.
Yes, yeah, that's been.
Wait, that's the same, like, C-class felony charge for a hate crime.
Yes.
Right.
What?
A recently passed bill in Michigan could make it a felony to intimidate. Now, what they do is they put intimidate. And who's the determiner of what intimidation
Well,
is?
that's
Who's the
thing.
determiner of any of
Just like
this?
sexual harassment. It's like, what is sexual harassment? Well, I feel sexually harassed. I feel like this is a hostile environment. Well, just because you feel that way doesn't make
Dude,
it
if that were the way that it went, Bryan could have sued me for sexual harassment months ago when I tried to create his dating profile.
Which I was going to ask you about that. How's that coming along? Have we got any
Wait,
bites
do
on
you
this?
really want that? Because if you really want me to post your dating profile, I will. But I think you should. I think you should review it first.
I probably ought to.
I know this isn't my show. But perhaps we don't spend time talking about
I'm
Bryan's
just
dating
saying,
life.
anything you say can get you in trouble right now.
I'm sorry,
Anything you
Aaron. At
say.
one point in time, we had a stinger that talked about Bryan's dating life. So
No, we didn't. We said in the stinger we wouldn't talk about Bryan's dating
unless there
life.
was absolutely nothing else to talk about. And from what
And right now in the world, there are so many things to talk
Right.
about.
And in Bryan's dating
Right.
life, there isn't much to talk about. So let's continue.
Amen, sister.
The non-existent dating life. All right, folks, quick break. Be back in a minute. Don't forget you can head on over to breaktbradio.com. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. Leave your sound off. We'll make you famous. So famous people will throw their mama's ashes at you. Be back in just a minute.
Asking the questions that get you kicked out of Bible studies and sent to therapy.
You're listening to The Breakdown.
Hi, it's Doc Thompson for Matthew 25 Ministries. Matthew 25 Ministries is one of the few charities I'll actually endorse because I know them. I've worked with them, and I know almost all of the money that you donate goes to help people. Go to m25m.org, m25m.org.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
What? Didn't see you there. I was busy eating this delicious meal from preparewithmojo50.com. You look hungry. Do you want some? Of course you do. Get your own. You can go to preparewithmojo50.com. That's preparewithmojo50.com. You can't have mine.
Welcome back, everybody, to the breakdown right here, broadcasting on Mojo 50 and over at Crusade Channel, crusadechannel.com, live radio the way it should be. If you want to check out the Crusade Channel, all the great shows, just head on over to crusadechannel.com. You can also join the chat room over there, which I forgot to pull up this morning, so I need to pull that up real quick. So if you're over there listening on the Crusade Channel and you're in the chat room, I apologize.
You're the only
I
one who
pulled that
has
one up.
access to that.
I am. I'm special.
I know. I just
there
mean
are other
you
people.
you gotta take care of it.
Yeah, you're right. I got to get in over there real quick.
Or you could give us your login information so we could do it for you.
Don't give me your login information.
Are you advocating theft on the air right now, Brian?
I was actually. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Just double checking.
Not
Just want to
theft,
make sure.
just sharing.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix is cracking down big time on those passwords.
I do know that.
And
yes.
yeah, like even on your own devices. Like we tried to log into a device in another room in our house, and it was like, excuse me, no. And it was like kicking us out. I'm like, dude, what the crap is going on?
Yeah,
here?
you got to pay for every screen now. And somebody, I don't know if this was a legitimate like Blockbuster account, if it even exists, but somebody put on Twitter, they made a Blockbuster account and they said, remember the days when you could rent a video from us and we didn't care how many people watched it with you?
We didn't care who you handed it to.
Yeah,
as long as it was
exactly.
back on time and you rewound it,
And
rewound it. Yes, yes.
Did you all have those auto rewinders?
Yeah.
Like you pulled it out of the VCR, popped into the auto rewinder, and it rewound it in like 15 seconds or something.
Yeah, I did
Yes.
one of those. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That way you could be rewinding one movie and starting the next movie.
Right.
You rented.
And you were so advanced.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was like right there. It got the coveted spot right there next to the VCR that was sitting on top of your surround sound, you know, because you had like that big, huge entertainment center that had 15
Giant.
pieces of equipment.
Now wait.
Yeah.
It was as big as the wall.
I didn't have all of that stuff. We had a console floor TV until I was like a junior in high school.
Oh man, my dad starting like back in 90. Well, he always had a big radio, always had a huge radio, and
But he couldn't
then
see the dial.
well, that actually wasn't until later on. But thanks for mocking that, Brian. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
It's awesome, buddy. Making fun of an old man's disability. That's great. Put that on the dating
There we
profile.
go.
Brian loves to make fun of the elderly.
Oh my god.
Every now and then we go out with bats and just kind of crack knees of the elderly people,
right?
kick canes.
I mean, gosh, just beat the dead horse.
Who just
Jeez.
said Steve over in Facebook made the comment about Betamax. I've never had a Betamax, but good gracious.
I dated a girl that had a Betamax.
I'm sorry. What is that a euphemism?
No, it was not. I was a beta male when I dated her, but she was like she had a Betamax in her.
Lord,
yeah. But it was one of those ones where you hit the button and it kind of yeah. Oh, I know. I was a total beta male back then, man. I was, yeah, absolutely. It was bad. That whole situation.
If anybody brings up 8mm, I'm done because that's just like the Super 8. What the heck, you know?
Super 8. Well, Timmy's in the chat. I'm sure he knows about 8mm.
I bet he does.
Curtis just said she was a top loader. Yes, beta.
See, I
Yeah.
told you. You
Oh
said
my gosh, wait, I should have thought about that before. I
I'm
got
like,
it out
wait,
loud.
what? That surely
This
didn't
is not
come
good.
out
This
right.
is not good at all. What are we doing
All right, let's
here?
move on to another story here. Like we were talking about memberships there. Costco is actually the latest company to start cracking down on shared memberships. A statement from Costco says it's due to efforts to make sure only members reap the benefits of membership. Costco is able to keep our prices as low as possible because our membership fees help offset our operational expenses, making our membership fee and structure important to us. Costco's membership policy has not changed. We have always asked for membership cards at our registers at time of checkout.
Oh.
Our membership policy states that our membership cards are not transferable. And since expanding our self-service checkout, we've noticed that non-member shoppers have been using membership cards that do not belong to them. We don't feel it's right that non-members receive the same benefits and pricing of our members. I mean, they're getting
Well,
pissed
then,
about
then
this.
maybe you shouldn't make it as a virtual membership card on the app. So, like, not that I'm sharing my membership with anybody, but if someone has login to my information on Costco, they can use my virtual card, and they don't have to. I don't have to be present.
Well, don't you have whenever you go in there? I thought you had. Well, typically, I mean,
You have to show a
they're like
card when
door
you walk in
greeters
the
at
door,
Walmart.
right?
Right. You have to
Yeah,
show the
but
card
they're
when you
door
walk in the
greeters.
door, but nobody checks to really see if that's you. Like I go in there all the time. Nobody ever checks the back
I
of my
remember
card to make
somebody who
sure that that's me,
I
right?
remember somebody who flashed a driver's license to get into a secured government facility, and nobody stopped him. So, I mean, hey, what can you say?
Well,
All
I
right.
mean,
I guess
I
you
guess
can't say
not
anything.
much. But then when you check out, usually they say, "Can I see your card?" So then,
Right.
but they're just scanning it over. I don't. Are they really checking it? I've never
They're
had
scanning the
anyone check
barcode.
it.
They're not looking at any of it. You know.
I I used my wife's card. So like so my wife has one through her dad, and he made her like an authorized on the Costco thing. I went there one day to pick up a birthday cake. I think it was for one of my daughters, and I showed the woman the card. And it was my wife's card, and she was like, "I'm not supposed to check you out with this. I'll do it this time, but that's it." And I'm like, "Whoa, all right, wow." Little Miss TSA there, but it's my wife. I'm like, this is my wife's card. I mean, I don't want to, but I'll show you my ID. And how do you know that's actually not me in drag? Those pictures are so horrible. I could be wearing a wig, and that could just be my alternate persona on Fridays. You don't know that. How dare you question my gender? I should have thrown a fit like that.
Wait, stop.
How dare you misgender me? I am Alex.
No.
Well, is
But-
is it Costco that's part of the Target family? Is that correct?
I don't know. Are they owned by Target? Are you saying?
I think Costco and Target are together somehow. I think because I know like
What?
Sam's and Walmart are together. So
Well, that's because they were both started by the same family.
Yeah, Sam's and Walmart were all by the Walton
no, I
family.
understand that, but I was thinking that Costco and Target had some kind of connection or something. So I mean, maybe they wouldn't mind you being so woke.
To my knowledge, I didn't know that.
I could be wrong. I've been wrong on
Yeah.
occasion. We won't tell them though.
Okay, yeah, we'll make sure that we don't.
I won't put that in the dating profile.
I won't call them
Yeah,
right
don't
away.
put that on the dating profile. Thank you.
Cringe of the week here, folks. Cringe of the week. So, Erica, you were out of town when that whole Ocean Gate thing happened, right? You weren't. Yeah, you were.
I mean, we were paying attention to it, but yeah, I was. It wasn't a priority.
Yeah. Well,
Apparently,
so Ocean
apparently it
Gate.
wasn't for them either.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been seeing the aftermath. Like I've been seeing the videos posted of this video was taken inside the sub. There's some videos that are coming out. Then there's that audio from the Navy apparently where they think they caught the sound, or at the time it imploded. I don't know what to think. What's the big deal though, right? The big deal isn't even that it blew up, is it? The big deal is that was the guy an ass or not? Wasn't that the big deal? The guy who owned the company that was some kind of idiot and hired a bunch of idiots to man the sub, and it ended up blowing up. It's kind of like womp womp. I don't know. What am I missing?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it blew up because the guy wouldn't hire those 50-year-olds, anybody over 50 that was white, but like because he was over 50 and white, I believe,
Or it was built
and
with a
he was
bunch
the
of
one that made
American
the
parts.
decision that operated. Yeah, and it was also a fiberglass, which they do use that particular type of composite to go down there. But I wasn't going to correct you, but Timmy did in the comments. It didn't explode. It
He has
imploded.
no problem correcting me. Trust me.
And
But
they were
the-
talking. Have you seen the video, Aaron, about the speed at which it imploded?
What do you mean?
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, the if you can find that, Brian, of that just a video of them showing like it's like a CGI, it's like a computer a simulation of what it looked like when it imploded, when it crushed itself like a can there. But the Ocean Gate, the company that was responsible for this, is still offering Titanic bound trips after the Titan implosion. So
What?
on your website, if you go there right now, they have 2 trips, June 12th, 2024 and June 21, 2024, at a cost of $250K. They're scheduled to depart from St. John's, Newfoundland, where the expedition leader will go over important safety information and dive day logistics. The important safety information is we're going to try not to implode. And our science team and content experts will help you prepare for what you may discover on your dive, like imploding and death. Along with training in a submersible dive, Ocean Gate also promises its passengers meals and expedition gear per the expedition's description. So they're offering you last meals as well. That's very sweet.
Do I get
But
to keep the little PlayStation 2 controller that I'm using for my submersible sub?
You get to bring your own. It's
Oh,
Bluetooth,
cool.
so you can actually bring your own control and hook into it, and then you go on your own little
I
trip.
wonder if I could pair up with my Galaxy notepad.
Okay, so you don't stop flying airplanes because a plane crashed. So why would you stop having these trips just because one of them exploded?
Well, I tell you, because the amount of aircraft that fly, the amount of planes and flights that take off, and the amount of plane crashes is extremely minimal. The amount of dives taken by this type of expedition and the implosion and death, yeah, I think your percentage is a little higher. Like they should at least stop and say, you know what? Perhaps we should reassess some of our features. You know?
Oh, so there's not other types of crafts that this company uses. This is it. This is their one, and they're still going to go down in it a couple more times.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's not changing. Like this
Okay.
is the type of
Yeah,
thing that they're using.
okay. Bad idea.
Yeah. But you know, it's kind of like, you know, like if you have a plane that explodes, a plane crash,
Right.
you know, the airline's like, holy crap.
Yeah, for
this
a
is
little
bad.
bit, and then they do some investigation and they change out. Well, yeah, I guess you're right. They change out some parts. But
Yeah,
in the
you know,
meantime,
but
there's a bunch of Boeing 747s still flying around that aren't owned by Southwest that people are getting
yeah,
on.
because the ratio is much lower. Like, you know, your chances of dying in a plane crash versus your chances of imploding in these crafts that are going down under, you know, what, the 2.5 miles of water. That your chances of that happening, right, are much
Yeah.
greater.
I mean, I
in
would never
death.
get in the sub in the first place. So there's that. But
Well, first of all, it would be extremely claustrophobic for the little tiny area that they're in. But second of all, I don't know that I would have I mean, I've always wanted to go diving and like scuba diving, things like that, but I can't imagine being that far down in the water with absolutely no plan of escape.
we were just talking about this. I don't intentionally put myself in an environment where I'm becoming a lower piece of the food chain. This is just not, it's just not good. It's not
Get a
good.
lower piece of the food chain.
Well, I mean, like you're
If
not
there's
even
anything
necessarily
left for something to eat.
I mean, like you're not even necessarily lower on the food chain. You just have zero ability. Like if you're in the air, you might be able to have a parachute.
Right.
Like if you're on a prop or, you know, something I don't know at what size they stop giving you parachutes. And you're just like, hey, you're screwed at this point.
You mean like how
Yeah,
large or how small?
Well, how I like there's like a limit, you
Right.
know. I
This
don't know what it
parachute
is. Like a
can
passenger.
only hold so much weight. Right. Okay. Get
No,
that.
no, I mean like okay, this plane holds 15
Right.
people. Everybody gets a
Yes.
parachute. These planes and above hold 16. Y'all just taking your chances. You're
No.
screwed. You're not getting a
There's
parachute.
got to be a life. There's got to be a life jacket for every passenger, right? Well, then that's the thing. I don't have gills. I don't belong to point whatever miles underwater. No, you don't belong there.
I love the water. I would love to be able to dive and scuba dive and to go down in those types of depths. What I couldn't stand is the closed space. Like I don't think I could handle, like right now thinking about it, I'm starting to have anxiety. Being in such a small area with that many people, and I know it's only 4 other people, with that many people and no ability, like you said, Brian, no ability to get out of there, to step outside for a fresh breath of air. I don't think I could handle that part of it.
Well, and they were talking about when they were doing the recovery mission, they were talking about how that even if they found the sub, there was no way for them to leave or any kind of escape hatch from the inside to get out. They said it was the opening was bolted closed with 17 bolts on the outside of the sub end. So there was no escape plan.
It's just a motorized capsule. It's not really a sub. I mean, if you're
Right.
drilled in there, you can't get out on your
Exactly.
own. They're just putting you in it like a pill
Yeah.
and
Aaron, I
screwing
found
you
that
in, and that's it.
I found the rendition of what they think it might have looked like.
Well, hold on, Brian. Erica was talking about Tylenol and
No,
pill
I'm good.
bottles and
I'm
being
just
squished
saying,
into a sub.
you're not just getting into a I don't feel like that's safe. Poor
Oh,
choices.
yeah. Here we go. We have somebody in the chat room. Eyes to see FE, the sub television watching news believers. Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
The
That's,
what now?
the accusation that this didn't happen. Oh, this didn't happen. Okay.
Well, the moon
Fine.
landing didn't happen, and whatever. So,
Well,
anyways,
the moon landing didn't happen, but the difference. I
Come on,
mean,
there's a
like,
guy out there that thinks that there's only 2 members of the Columbia shuttle explosion are dead and the rest of them are alive and well.
hey, what about the Challenger?
That's what I
It's
meant,
like
the Challenger, sorry.
yeah, the Challenger. So, all right, Brian. So, go ahead and play this this implosion video here. This is what. So it's showing the Titan and it's showing the example of what it would look like. Now the inside shot of that, I hadn't seen that. That's pretty cool.
So
artistic visualization. Yeah, I'm glad that they did that, because if this were in space, they would show that and then say this is exactly what happened, because they had a third camera watching things like that happening.
the other thing is that you've got to also remember too, where they were talking about milliseconds, and I think it was like your brain takes 13 milliseconds to feel pain, and they were estimating that the implosion took less than 4 milliseconds. So they would have not, by the time that they had already imploded, they would have not even felt anything. It was just done. It was over. It was instantaneous.
Yeah, they wouldn't have felt it. Like, some people were like, oh, their final moments. Oh, their final moments. They were like, hey, there's the bow of the and then they were done. Like that that's how quickly it would have happened.
The thing is we okay. I don't know. I always thought if they were lost, like everybody kept saying they were lost, like if they were just kind of free floating down there and they couldn't control the vessel or whatever, I could think that would be pretty terrifying. But if it was actually just a few hours after they took off or whatever, and it imploded, and that's when it was all gone, my thought would be inside of the sub or inside of the vessel for hours and hours and hours with no control, and then all of a sudden then it imploded. That would be a different story, I guess. So
yeah, the fear the fear that it would be that you're like down there without any air. I totally get all that, but the fact that they're continuing to offer that, perhaps they should hold off on doing that. So, all right, let's see what else we have on the docket today. That was the cringe story of the week. How much time do we have left in this segment? We have enough time to get into this here. Barriers are going back up for us, students say. The SCOTUS rulings on student debt are throwing people all for a loop here. So evidently, folks are extremely upset because the Supreme Court said no to Biden's attempt to pay back student loans or do student loan forgiveness. The Supreme Court on Friday ruled against a plan to provide mass student debt relief, clinching a series of decisions that Americans of color say makes colleges seem even less welcoming and accessible than they did before. A day prior, the High Court ruled against the consideration of race in college admissions, a practice that data shows has helped to reduce the countless barriers Black and brown communities face in their efforts to break free from generational poverty. Taken together, students and advocates say the decisions reinforce those obstacles and the sense that U.S. higher education is an exclusive club. This whole situation with the student loan forgiveness and the student loan and all that, This is obviously socialism that's trying to take a further hold. We're already a socialistic country. But the fact that you have student loans like this and people are throwing a fit because the government isn't paying the student loans off. Let me ask you a question. If your job that you paid, because you should count the cost, the Bible talks about sitting down and counting the cost, right? If the education if you have an education you paid $90,000 for, merits you a job where you're making $30,000 a year,
then you're an idiot.
You're not doing it right.
Right.
Okay, first, colleges are so expensive anyway. This is a vicious cycle. Colleges are so expensive anyway because of federal financial aid.
Right.
They jack their prices up. I mean, you could go on Amazon and buy a book for $15. If you go and buy that same book through your college bookstore, you're paying $35, $40 for it. Why? Because student aid. Because you have these, not scholarships necessarily, but, scholarships also play into that, but loans, because you're able to get all of these things at these exorbitant prices and they'll pay for them. That is also why there is such a jacked up cost in our insurance that we see. So it's so people don't understand, if the government pays this off, all it's going to do is kick the can down the road and increase the higher education prices
They
anyway.
understand.
And then
They don't care. They just want their poor decisions.
I'm talking about the
They
kids.
just want their poor decisions paid off. They don't care.
And
Yeah,
think
the
about it.
kids, they don't think
In what other situation can I go out and get a loan and then get mad when somebody doesn't pay the loan for me? I mean, they knew what they were signing up for. They knew that it was a loan. There was no question about the fact that they would have to pay this back.
But technically that's everywhere, right? Like you don't have to go out and get a job and I'll pay you. You can, I mean, they're
Well, that gets back to what Aaron was talking about, the socialist society. I think our government is pushing more and more people to be dependent on the government.
that is the goal. Correct.
Yeah.
You need a workforce.
So we don't need a workforce. You just
They
need to
do.
sit at home. You need to sit at home and you need to
sit at home and no, they want you to do
do
what they
nothing.
what
Yeah,
they
do
want. They
nothing.
want you to have a living wage, but your living wage is also going to require you to work. I mean, that's why they have to take control of everything from education to media to what you can and cannot do. Then they fully control your life cycle.
Well, yeah, but they already do in some, and that's when
They
people
already do.
well,
Yes.
we can talk about all the we can talk about all of the different things about the cashless society and things like that. So, I mean, yeah, this is, I don't
There
know.
is no way, bottom line, that anybody should say that some decision that they made to borrow money that was not necessary. You didn't have to get that degree. You could
Right.
have gotten a different degree that would have supported your life.
Right.
Okay. And then while you're
100%.
doing that, go back to school and pay for it yourself to get the degree that you want, that you think is going to make you the big bucks. But you don't get to make decisions. I saw one, made me so angry. I saw one tweet that was like, it's the bank's problem because I believed in the American dream and I grew up poor. So I took out loans so I could live the American dream and I was sold a bag of goods. Well, then you're dumb.
Yep.
You're dumb.
100%.
It's not because you were poor and it's not because you were manipulated. It's because you're dumb.
100%.
And much of this can also be chalked up to ignorance, because first, parents that are trying to make it, living on paycheck to paycheck, working 2-3 jobs, they have abrogated their responsibility to take care of their kids to the schools.
Right.
So rather than pulling their kids out of schools, and you think about this as well, you pull your kids out of public schools. Why are we sending them? I have no problem kids going to college. I have no problem kids getting a higher education if it's something that can merit them. If first off, they can get scholarships to pay for it, not student loans, or if they pay for it themselves as they go, and they're able to get that. And then on the other end, they have something that is a marketable skill, which can be used in the private sector. I'm totally fine with that. But in these circumstances, we had such a push for people having degrees that folks would go and get a degree in business. What the hell are you going to do with a degree in business?
You can get a degree
That's
in
one of the-
women's studies. What the? is that?
But what I'm talking about is back, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, people were like, "Oh, go to school and get a degree in business."
Just go to
Why?
school,
That is actually proven to be one of the most ridiculous and non-profitable degrees a person can get.
Right.
All it is it looks good on a
It's
resume. You have a
It's a degree that
Sorry, go
just
ahead.
means that you can balance a checkbook. There's no
Exactly.
reason for you to have those pieces of paper. Somebody decided that you needed that piece of paper in order to give you status, right?
Well, you know what?
You know,
I don't know of anybody that's ever looked at my degree to say, "Hey, you have a degree. Oh, you have a degree? Oh, yeah, that gives you a leg up on your job."
the reality is, did you know you don't even have
Um
to have a law degree to take the bar exam? In any state
Exactly.
in this country, you can just study and go take the bar and be allowed to practice law.
Exactly.
Period. It does not
Now there
matter. And God help us if I ever do that.
So maybe we should all just work. Maybe we should all just build up our Twitter accounts, our social media accounts, get really pissed
Right.
off, really angry, start bitching about stuff that doesn't matter, and very possibly a Finnish university could bestow upon us an honorary doctorate degree before we're 21
Yeah.
years old. Like, I don't know, like Greta Thunberg this week. Climate activist Greta Thunberg is to be awarded an honorary doctorate from the University of Helsinki's
I was
theology
going to say,
department.
wait, make sure you cover what kind of doctorate, because it proves
Right.
the fact now that climatology is a religion. She is now
Greta
a
Thunberg.
theologian.
A what?
Yes. She's a
Yeah, she
philologian.
is a theologian
No.
of climatology.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that was yes, this is a Finnish university. She was named among the 30 other individuals to be awarded the title of Doctor Honoris Causa, the university's highest recognition. Among the most high-profile names include the last was a bunch of names we don't know because we don't really give a crap. The ceremony is part of Finland's centuries-old conferment of Jubilee, in which individuals are recognized for their professional and artistic achievements. What exactly? I mean,
Wait,
so
what?
we have her. She deleted a tweet recently that said the world was supposed to explode and end by June 14th. She deleted that back in March because, she was wrong.
Didn't she show
Just
up
like
recently at like a wind farm protest? I mean, now she's against even wind power.
because of the
Yeah, we
birds.
can't hurt
We
the
can't
birdies.
have any type of power, right? And we can't obviously just burn wood to stay warm. So what does she want to do? What's her end game?
She wants you to die.
Well,
How dare you
I
live?
don't. How
Die.
dare she? I don't like her.
She wants you to die. Just
Her
die.
parents should be
That-
jailed
that's
for
what's-
abuse of an autistic child.
Oh, and the gloves come off.
Ding,
All right, folks, this
ding.
is the breakdown. We are continuing on. We'll have another segment after this break. If you're listening, we're actually broadcasting live on D Live this morning. So if you're listening to us over there, it's our first time broadcasting there. We are going to take a break for our radio station affiliates to have their money-making opportunities. But we will be back with this and more with Bryan, Aaron, and Erica. Aaron, Bryan, and Erica. Erica, Bryan, Aaron. Whatever you want to say. Right here on The Breakdown. So keep it locked in. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other side. And on the break, don't forget to leave your sound off.
Squirrel.
I think we're good. So, all right. Quick break, folks. Be back in just a minute. Or everybody that's still watching on the stream. So, Bryan and Erica, Bryan, you all ready for what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Well, I
ready.
was until you just took my story.
Oh
Are you
shoot! No
serious?
way.
I was like,
Oh
well,
no.
'cause I was like, well, maybe we'll do that one, even though I kind of bled it yesterday, but that's okay. I'll find something else real quick. Don't worry about it.
Wow, don't feel bad. I just found mine during the last half hour. That's
All
why I
right.
put in the chat. I'm like, oh, I forgot.
Well, I had mine picked out. I actually, I've got mine picked out, and it's
Well,
ready
I'm
to
gonna
go.
take
Oh, you know
I'm
we
gonna take
should.
a nature break.
What's that?
So
Yeah, I'll be right
take off.
back.
Okay. I wonder if I can do. If it'll let me now. I don't know why it's not letting me. All right, folks. Let's see. J May. Good morning, J May. Didn't finish college. Took enough classes to get a skill set that would get me an office job. Everything else I learned has been on the job. It served me well. I don't have a college degree. I went to a Christian college for 3 months. I thought God was telling me that God was telling me that I needed to leave and become an itinerant evangelist. And I left and did not become an itinerant evangelist. I preached at a couple of churches. It was not as explosive as I had thought it was going to be. But I ended up getting a couple factory jobs, a couple warehouse jobs, and I got a sales job, and then ended up in banking. And then through that, just learned a bunch of stuff. But it's mainly been, like customer service and sales has been my focus. And a lot of the stuff I learned, I did learn on the job, and all my whatever little I know about the Bible, I learned all of that because I just studied on my own. And read a bunch of theology books and took some, trainings and such over the years and paid attention. Let's see. Debbie says, good morning, Deb. I didn't get a chance to say good morning to everybody, so if I missed you, I apologize. I think I saw Rocky in there. We got Timmy, Deb, and J-May, of course. Deb, I didn't finish college either. I graduated with a degree in common sense. Yep. Let's see here. Hey, Cougar. What's going on? Deb said, it was when I started my own business, I gave myself that degree. Huh? What was your business in, Deb? I didn't know you had a business. What was that in? Timmy says, I have a double master's in electronics, and they are pretty much useless now because everything is disposable. Don't fix nothing anymore. Yeah, that's true. Let's see here. Timmy the pilot also said, hey, talk about green energy. About 1,000 or so solar panels to supplement the power grids in Nebraska got taken out by all hailstorms. Back to square one. Yeah. I mean, those wind energy, for those who love the environment, wind energy does, I wasn't joking, it kills a lot of birds. And then, of course, there's some other things about the propellers, just the amount of stuff. But yeah, so there's the amount of materials it takes to make this. I know a lot of people's talking about nuclear, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm down with nuclear because I'm not in any way going to speak to this as far as having any kind of legitimacy in my knowledge of it. 15 seconds, Erica. I will say that I'm concerned about the amount of toxic waste that is produced. Let's see, Rocky. We'll get you in just a second, buddy.
Gave Rocky clearance? That's insane.
Welcome back to the breakdown, everybody. I guess Bryan had a longer nature break than what we anticipated, so it's
he
just
should really
Erica and I are not coming
qualify.
back.
Gosh.
Yeah, what kind of nature are you breaking,
Really?
son? So don't forget, you can sound off on college degrees, on Greta Thunberg. You can also sound off on why it is that Michigan says that anybody who uses the wrong pronouns can now be thrown in jail with a felony or be fined $10,000 and or both. Sound off on all those by going to breakdradio.com. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you to the Crusade channel, on which we are now broadcasting, simulcasting over there. Live radio the way it should be. So you can go to crusadechannel.com. And there is a chat room over there that is exclusive, but you can check on that by clicking on chat. Don't forget to show them some love. Let them know you're listening to the breakdown as well on Saturdays. Let's see here. Not only gosh, there's so much stuff to get into today. Not only do we have just a lot of other news about what's going on in California with our kids, but we also have What You Thinking coming up, and we'll explain that for all the new users or all the new listeners that are going to be here, that are here listening to us on DLive, on Facebook, and the rest. All right, let's see what we've got. This one here, Bill Maher had RFK on his show. It's called, what was the name of his show called? I can't remember the name of his show, but he's got a separate show besides his live or real time with Bill Maher on HBO. I have said for years, I don't know if I've said it on the show. I may have said it on the show. I would love to sit down and have dinner with Bill Maher. I think it would be awesome. Now, a lot of people look at me cross-eyed. They're like, oh my gosh, he's so nasty, so foul. And I'm like, look.
No, okay. You mean like, okay, he says some stuff that's questionable or whatever. I don't know if I would say nasty and foul. I mean, the guy's had some perspectives that I've agreed with at times. So I think that'd be a cool
for real.
conversation. I mean,
It would. I would be fascinated. I'm sorry, go ahead,
I
Erica.
just think it would be very intelligent. He's not going to start screaming at you and calling you names because he has no basis. At least he knows where he's coming from. He seems to consider points and points of view. I think it would be a cool conversation.
It would be a fascinating conversation to have with him. And now, of course, he sat down with RFK, which is yet another. Welcome back, Bryan. We're glad you're able to join us. Rocky has a little message there for you.
Thank you very much.
So he sits down with him for an hour and a half, and this is what he has to say to him. And this is where we've stepped into an alternate parallel universe.
I also got to say, and I'm kind of stealing my thunder from a friend of mine who you would know, but I'm not going to mention, who really said this, but I totally agree with it. Whether you're right or wrong, I think you're mostly right about this issue, especially the vaccine issue. The guts and the integrity to take that stand and stick and by your guns when media, you lose the New York Times, family, that to me is a pair of balls.
So I just want to tell you all, everybody out there, just so I can apply this properly. Everybody who's listening to this show, the cast on this show right now, I'm going to say 99% of the listeners to this and the Crusade Channel and Mojo, I don't want to throw you under the bus, but I think you'll be proud. You all have a pair of balls, according to Bill Maher. Because which of us who stood against the schmacks mean actually did not lose family or friends or credibility, who was not censored on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook? I was contacted by elders in my church about being a conspiracy theorist, and all of this
but
time,
you are.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you are a conspiracy theorist, but that's just one.
I never said that I wasn't. Right. I'm just saying they reached out to me about it. And, people posting stories about conspiracy theorists are not smart people. And here's why. All that clickbait.
Don't you care about your family, Aaron? How could you post that stuff? You're just attracting violence and hatred, and it's just not necessary.
You're not a doctor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But here's the deal. I've been doing this since 2006, since Christmas Eve 2006. And there are people out here who've been listening to the show that have been doing it a lot longer than I have. And then there are people out here who are noobs at it, who just started realizing what was going on back in 2016 when President Trump was elected. And then big time when COVID hit, just the psyop and the massive mind F that's going on. And they started speaking out about it, saying, wait just a second, we're rushing a chemical and forcing people to put it into their bodies through the government. Jobs are being lost. You're being kicked out of church. Kids are being prevented from going to college. Kids are being prevented from going to school because they won't get a jab. Right? Yes. So now Bill Maher is saying that takes integrity. It takes balls. That's what he's saying. So all you people, I just want to stop and commend every person who for the past several years has been demonetized, deplatformed, depersoned, treated like crap by your families at Thanksgivings and Christmases, and treated like crap on social media because you had integrity and you had the gumption to stand up for your rights and stand up against something that we knew was hurting people. Congratulations to you for your Bill Maher spoken balls. That's all I have to say.
I'll take that.
There you go. And I'll take it from Bill Maher too. I'm happy to take it from
I've,
you.
I've never had Bill Maher can be a little crass at times, but I think what's funny is that you see the people that we used to think were the most extreme leftists are now the people that are coming around and moving back toward center, and it's kind of weird.
Well, I tell you, that is. I'm just going to pop this comment up there for everybody to see.
Oh,
if Knights is still in there
can't be
listening
serious.
and watching.
What?
You know, Brian, what was the last thing you just said? I totally lost my train of thought because of Rocky.
No,
what did I miss
Rocky.
there?
I think Rocky made Aaron blush.
He did. I'm feeling all hot. I'm flustered over here.
Wow.
You got it.
Wow.
He's dropping some truth in here. He mentions chemtrail, which is the stratospheric aerosol injections. Yes, those have been proven to be true as well. How many times over the past 15 years have I posted? I've been on Facebook since 2009 or 2010, so 14 years or so. Have I posted pictures? Yeah, I know, Audrey. I'm getting all red over here. Have I posted pictures on social media of not clouds, but chemicals that have been dispersed into the air? All right. And people are like, hey, look at you posting clouds on the Facebook. Oh, look at you posting it. And I'm like, those are not clouds. Those are dispersed chemicals. That's iron, that's mercury, that's bromine. Those are things that are destroying the environment and killing you. And they're like, no, you're a conspiracy theorist. That's stupid. Do they have a button that they push when they're on the plane? And then we just have footage revealed by a woman out of Vegas, I think, by that woman, that reporter that reported. She was a meteorologist. It was on USA Today, I think. And she reported about the planes that are strategically spraying chemicals into the air to stop global warming. And they showed inside the cockpit, and the pilot had a button that said on and off, and that's the button he used to disperse the chemicals. But I'm the nutbag. Because I said that for
There's actually a video of her explaining the whole process of what they load the plane with, what it's supposed to do. It's all out there. I mean, why do you care anymore if people call us conspiracy theorists or if they tell us that we don't know what we're talking? I mean, I pity them at this point. I pity the fools.
The ongoing joke during all of the past 2 years has been, does anybody have any new conspiracy theories? Because all the ones I know have become true. So it's kind of a test. They've pushed that card so hard that if you believe anything outside of what they say is normal, then you're a conspiracy theorist.
But they can
But the
put
fact
it
of the
all
matter
out
is
there.
they've pushed it so hard that the things that we know for a fact are happening, and the things that we know for a fact and can be proven and have now been proven, they're not conspiracies anymore. So it's just like it's just like the whole racist thing. They've called everything racist to the point where it doesn't mean anything anymore.
I
They've
think what
called
they've
everything
proven,
homophobic. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
I think what they've proven is that they can commit atrocities right in
course.
front of our faces.
Of course.
And as long as we have enough ridiculous distraction, it will happen. Did you guys know that one of the J6ers was eaten by bed bugs? The guy was basically eaten alive.
Ugh.
And while we're out here trying to figure out if there's, alien spacecrafts hanging around, we got a hero that is being eaten. Can you imagine what it would be like to be eaten alive by bed bugs? Come on, people. It's not conspiracy anymore.
I think
You gotta
Timmy
pay
wants to do it.
attention.
I think Timmy wants to do a sound off air.
He does, but it's gonna it could be questionable.
BreakDRadio.com. Click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. Timmy, if you've got the guts, buddy, go ahead and leave one over there. We're happy to play it on the show and make you famous.
Wow,
also,
he has thrown down the gauntlet.
Knights or Rocky, anybody over there, welcome to leave that sound
Scream
off.
off.
I'm not so much. I'm not so much. Yeah, like, I'm not. I don't. I've been treated. Grew up a fat kid. Okay. I popped out a heavy kid. I was a fat kid growing up, and then in my sixth grade year,
I'm still a fat kid, so hush.
Well, I am too. But what I'm saying is, I was a fat kid, and then I became a Christian, which compounded the mocking and making fun of me in school. I'm used to it. I got a pretty tough skin. What annoys me about it is that people will mock, deride, and treat folks like crap. and then post up a story about singing the praises of reducing climate control through the thing like chemtrails, which is kind of a derogatory term, but it's used so much. We'll use it in this vernacular that they'll decry that, but after they've just spent their time bashing someone who says that they believe it. Cougar, that is that. Oh, where is it? Right, I just had a. Let's see. There's a Substack written by a guy that Steve Kirsch. I get his Substack all the time. He said that he wrote an email, and it was his Substack about vaccines. Or I'm sorry, schmaxmeans causing falseism, and I didn't mean to say false. It's not false, but causing autism. And the MIT professors would not respond to him. And this is something that somebody finally, as a mainstream candidate who's been talking about this for years in RFK, is finally talking about. And when you see stories like the fact that Bill Gates is spending $400 million to test a new TB vaccine on 26,000 people in Africa and in Southeast Asia, when it's Bill Gates who used the polio vaccine in third world countries. And that's why there was such a polio outbreak, not because of polio, but because of the polio vaccine. Right. So this, and then the fact that it has been tied to, you cannot get past the scientific information that's been put out there. Bees, when bees have exposure to high levels of mercury, they have the same type of effects and same type of responses as humans do with Alzheimer's. So mercury crosses the blood-brain barrier.
Yes.
It gets into your brain and lodges there. There are stories, thousands, unfortunately, thousands upon thousands of stories of kids that were perfectly healthy, hitting all of their benchmarks. They were potty trained, they were walking, they were talking, they were in high percentiles. They were, for all intents and purposes, regular functioning children. And then all of a sudden they go to bed one night, spike a fever. The next day they lose their ability to talk. They lose their ability for eye contact. They lose their ability for continence. They lose their ability to read. They can't, then they start slowly declining off of that. And then they're diagnosed with autism. Right. What is the common denominator between all of those kids that spike a fever and have those effects afterwards? And it is this barrage of vaccines that kids are hit with. You cannot, now scientifically, it's like the scientifically proven fact and confessed fact of chemtrails. You can no longer dispute the fact that, yes, there is a tie between those two things.
I don't know how you can deny it, except for the
All right,
fact
you can go to breaktradio.com. Go, please go ahead. I was just trying to break the silence.
No, go ahead. I don't know how you can deny it. I mean, it's absolutely, and there are still people out there, right? If I was having kids right now, would you be getting them vaccinated? I would not.
Heck
I would
no.
not.
I'm glad I don't have to. I'm glad
my
I do
daughter
not
is
have to make that
18.
decision. How about that? Let's just leave it
Yeah.
there. Because right now there are so many questions, there are so many issues, and whether you believe one side or whether you believe the other side, as a parent, you have some kind of moral conundrum that you have to figure out. Do I go the way that everybody quote unquote says is safe, or do I do what I'm not sure what to do? I mean, I don't know.
I think they scare you into it,
They
right?
scare you into
Especially
it.
the new mothers who don't know what you don't
Exactly.
know what you're thinking. But there's also like I have some sort of innate distrust of any organization or group that is free from penalty or punishment.
Agreed.
And most of the companies that create these vaccines or that have come up with these vaccines face no penalty or punishment if they kill people. And I just that alone should make you distrust what you're doing. Or at least do some research.
When my daughter's 17 years old. And my daughter is 17 years old. My youngest daughter is 14. My oldest daughter at 17. When she was born, it was 2005 is when she was
Oh, were
born.
you ready? Were you already on the conspiracy train then?
No,
Okay.
I did not hit until Christmas Eve 2006 is when I jumped on and it was because of a movie called 9/11 Mysteries. It was Christmas Eve. And but anyway, my daughter she was born in 2005. She was hit with all the vaccines when she was born. And then after that, I think she got one more round of vaccines, but then there was no more. We did not because we started research and studying, and it wasn't just me. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, well, Barker's dumb. He's a conspiracy. My wife is extremely intelligent, and she was also talking about the fact that the vaccines were dangerous. She didn't know what was in them, and we decided to make a conscientious decision. We're not going to do this. We had a pediatrician that came in and sat in our office, and we were talking. We were given facts. We were given information. We were giving concerns, and the pediatrician looked at both of us and said, if you don't give your kids vaccines, you need to find yourself another pediatrician. And we said, fine, F you. And we left. My youngest daughter was hit with hers. She was born in 2009. She got hit with her initial ones when she was in the hospital, but after that, nothing. She's had no vaccines whatsoever. And now, of course, that was a fight because public schools, we had to go through exemptions. I'm sorry, my oldest daughter, we pulled her out when she finished the second grade, and my youngest daughter had never been to school all the way up until she was like in sixth grade. We homeschooled them, so we didn't have to worry about it. And then we sent them to a Christian school, and they were like, yeah, vaccines, we're fine if you don't want to do that. So we're like, hey, that's great. The college my daughter's going to, I did a paper for her. We did a paper together, and she's actually, we submitted that as well. She has to sign a waiver that says if she gets sick, it's essentially that she's accepting that risk. But all of that is a conscientious decision, not a decision that we've made because we're scared or because we don't like something or because our favorite conspiracy theorist said it. It's because we took some time and thought, hey, why don't we not pump our kids full of all of these chemicals which cause cancer, have been linked to autism, have made kids sick, have given them autoimmune issues and diseases? That Steve Kirsch paper says here, if you go to stevekirsch.substack.com about vaccine, it says, if vaccines don't cause autism, why is there a lack of a single case where a child became, quote, he fingers, overnight autistic before a vaccination appointment? And then it lists, I mean, the paper is huge, and it just lists all kinds of information about the studies of vaxxed versus unvaxxed, the amount of autism cases before and after, the age groups. RFK's talked about this as well. His age group, he's 69 years old. He has never seen in his age group a full-fledged, like helmet wearing, hitting your head against a wall, wearing diapers, autistic person. And that's not a derogatory. That's just describing the way that some autistic people, unfortunately, act. Right?
Yeah. I mean, and you can, I mean, I don't know. You have to attribute it to what you can see. Why is it all of a sudden you could see the effects of this and then people aren't going to attribute it to that when it's right there and it's so obvious? I don't understand. And they don't make it easy for you either to get these exemptions. I mean, and sometimes it's not just writing a letter. Like you have to give all types of justification or verification of why you don't want to do that. You have to do that just if you don't want to take those stupid state tests. I mean, the law says you don't have to, but in order to not take them, there's a whole bunch of stuff you have to go through. They don't make it easy for you to do the right thing.
Right. Exactly. You all can sound off on this as well, or as Timmy says, you can scream off about this by going to breakdradio.com, clicking on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. We'll play this on the air. There's a lot of information we've just talked about right there. We're probably going to get a community strike on YouTube. This very well may be our last presentation on YouTube today. So if you're watching it, it is historic. We will not, however, be kicked off the Crusade channel at crusadechannel.com, live radio the way it should be. We will not be kicked off of mojo50.com over there because they are all about free speech. And I don't think DLive's going to drop us either, because I've seen and heard some crazy conversations on some shows over there, like Sunday Long Live Radio. They have some fascinating conversations there on Sunday mornings. So if you're there, then those will be the places you're probably going to be able to hear the breakdown going forward. All right, folks, we've got just a couple minutes here. So what we'll do this, we'll cover a couple other news stories, Bryan, Erica, and then when we get back from at the bottom of the hour, that's when we'll do What You Thinking, because I'm going to try to leave as little time as possible for bad theology towards the end of the show.
God, it's gonna be really bad.
Are you afraid, Aaron? Are you afraid?
It's gonna be real. I
man.
mean, if just what we've all already looked at this week that we can't talk about because that wouldn't be a surprise, I cannot even imagine what you're about to do. Because the breastfeeding was beyond. I mean,
Oh my gosh. Are you going to play
I
that
was
one?
not going to play that one because
no, you can't. He can't play that one. We've all already seen it.
yeah, we can't play that one. But
Oh, geez. I mean, what about the audience though? They had the folks that are watching.
I
Oh,
haven't
we
seen it.
can show that if you want to. I just
I
didn't
don't
know
think
if we
it's
were going to be that
appropriate
kind of
to
show
show.
today.
I don't think it's appropriate to show.
Okay, Brian, let me say
Perhaps.
something. Hold on. Because unless you're saying that because it's nudity, why is it not appropriate? Why shouldn't we let people be aware that this type of insanity is happening?
Well,
Unless you think
When
there's
first of all,
you
nudity
watch
and we shouldn't do it.
I don't know
when you
that it
watch
was
videos of people in Africa on National Geographic Channel, they show ladies' boobs out all the time.
Well,
And
Brian.
it's not rated
And that's
R.
not
to the best
considered
of my
nudity.
knowledge, you don't see the actual boobage. But what I'm saying is, more importantly, is that I think in general, the conversation, this number one, I don't think this was a Christian church to begin with. And number two, I think the other thing about it being the bad theology is the fact that it's just so outrageous that people are not going to believe that it even happened.
When I watched it, well, we'll just have to
Yeah.
we'll end up having to show it now because we're talking about it so much. Because now people are like, "What are you talking about?" Let's see. Somebody over in the Crusader Stadium chat, it says that on Mike Church's show back in May, he discussed a study that spent $200 million and found no genetic cause for autism. Check out the vaccine schedule for children's. So this is actually, let me see if I can share this screen real
That's
quick.
true, actually.
Um,
There is no genetic cause. There's no identifiable genetic cause. There's not a gene mutation. There's not a genetic elimination. There's not a chromosome misformation. There's nothing different in they can't find it. If it's there, they haven't found it.
This is the vaccine schedule in 1986. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Compared to how many would you say that is there, Erica?
50.
I mean, unbelievable. All right, folks, quick break, back in a minute. And right here on the breakdown, we'll continue. See you on the other side.
Fighting for your right to be wrong. Mojo 50.
Supply chain disruptions, shortages, panic buying. Unfortunately, they've all become facts of life in 2021. The good news is you have preparewithmojo50.com as a hedge against all the craziness. At preparewithmojo50.com, not only will you find emergency food supplies.
Remember when that seemed like a fringe conspiracy theory thing to do?
Not so much anymore, right? Not only will you find the emergency food supply, but also water filtration, air filtration, all sorts of other tools that you can use in the event of an unforeseen situation or emergency, which with every day that goes by seems more and more likely. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Preparewithmojo50.com. If you want to keep food on the table, if you just want to maintain some sense of normalcy, preparewithmojo50.com is the answer. Preparewithmojo50.com.
Let's be honest. Wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting that clunky, old-style wheelchair in and out of your car. Introducing the Feather Chair Wheelchair. At 13 pounds, it's the world's lightest wheelchair. It folds in seconds and fits neatly in your trunk, backseat, or closet, so you can take it everywhere. And it's only available right here. Order yours today and get a free wheelchair case, a $50 value, yours free. The Feather Chair, the world's lightest wheelchair, is just $4.99 with easy payments as low as $16 a month. Sorry, no Medicare or insurance accepted. So call right now to order yours.
800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. 800-823-5826. That's 800-823-5826.
Welcome back to the breakdown, everybody. Thanks again for staying with us. A lot of great conversations happening. Fantastic people hanging out with us over on the chat, also on the Crusade channel and on Mojo 50. For those that are asking, I will do, let's see, there's that. Let me get the Rusty. What's up, Professor Lord? I'm going to say it right here because I got chided for not saying the name right. Lord Professor Rusty J. Lord Reverend Professor Rusty J. Luckman. Here is the
That man
link
has more
in the-
titles than anybody I've ever met in my life.
He buys every single one of them.
and we don't.
That's capitalism. I had to buy the radio host one. I had to buy that from Bryan, so he would allow me to actually act like I'm the host of the show. If you go to DLive, you can find it. It's under dlive.tv/Aaron Barker. Say, look, there's some folks are heading on over there and watching it. That's fantastic. Got our first couple of DLive comments. Indiana Mike has posted over there. Thanks, Mikey. I appreciate that, brother. And so for those of you who may have like an old rotary phone that are, 90 years old and above, if you go to your computer, if you know how to use that, go to the website and you can actually still leave a sound off on your computer as well, as long as you have your mic and all that stuff enabled, and you can do it on your mobile phone. So if you have a smartphone, just navigate to the website, and that's where you can do that as well. All right, folks, now it's time for What You Thinking. So this is a segment where one of us reads a news story we have uncovered without having revealed that to the other person yet, or the other persons on the show. Because we have a show prep that I put together each week that nobody except Erica reads and me.
I'm sorry, I read it too. Don't be smarty pants.
Oh, do you?
So yeah.
I do.
Sure.
But anyway, so then we read this news story to one another, or we recount the story without giving any kind of indication as to our position. And then the other two take turns guessing what the reader is thinking, hence the name What You Thinking. So who's going to go first on this What You Thinking?
I mean, I went first last time I was here, but I'll go again if you want me to.
No, I mean, I if you want, I can go.
Oh my
I'm
God.
fine with going
Okay,
first.
I'll just go. It's fine. It's
Okay.
funny. It's funny that we argue about it. Okay.
No, I guilt her into doing it.
Whatever. You guys are like you should see these guys in the chats. They're like teenagers the way they talk. It's really funny. Okay. This week, here's my What You Thinking. It's a really short story because I can't access the whole thing. So I think you'll get the gist of it though. Title: Restoring Rights or Endangering Lives. Federal judge rules against law barring felons from owning guns. Okay. I'm going to leave this is a statement from the article. This is huge. A federal judge recently ruled against a law that bars violent felons from owning firearms after they have served their time. The debate over whether felons should be able to keep and bear arms after paying their debt to society is not new. But the ruling on this particular issue further illustrates what the Supreme Court's impact is recently. And that's according to the article. The gist of it would be, how do you think that I feel about letting felons who have served their time own weapons?
I believe that you think if they served their time and they've paid for their crime via their jail sentence, then their rights should be restored. They should be able to have guns, and I think by further extension, they should also be able to vote as well. So I think that you're on board with a felon serving their time, paying back their debt, getting their rights restored, and being able to fire like that.
Okay. Bryan?
I agree with him. I think that at least as far as I know, as long as I've known you, I think that you'd probably be on for restoring the federal rights.
I probably need to spend more time on this because you're both right. That was easy. That was easy.
Oh, wait a second. Hold on. We didn't do it. Hold on. We didn't do it. Wait. Yeah, right now I was off. Who's okay, Erica? Who is writer?
It's a tie. You're both right. I do. I think you can't. if that's the way that it works, they've paid their debt. As much as I would hate it, right? In some cases, it would seem horrific. Like if you have somebody who is sentenced to a certain term in prison, let's say for aggravated assault or even what is it, second degree murder, manslaughter, and it involves a gun. They serve their time, they get out, they're on parole, they're done with that. They're clean. They're free after that. They make it through all that. It would seem weird to give them their weapon back in which they used to commit the crime in the first place, but I still think you have to. I think that's the whole point.
And are you the same thing? Do you believe the same thing with voting as well? Do you think that they should just anybody with voting
Yeah.
rights
I
if a
think there are
felon has
people that
served their
are a
time?
lot less intelligent than criminals who vote. So yeah, if you if you pay your dues, I mean you should get it all back. That's how it should work.
Yeah, and you know, like, and when you say that about intelligence, there are those guys that are in prison. Man, they are crafty. Like the things that they can make out of a plastic fork and 2 inches of yarn.
Look, they
I
don't have
mean,
a lot to
they
do.
could probably,
I mean, if okay, so
yeah.
even if you're just a person that is
Inmate MacGyvers.
even if you're just the person that's confined to this situation and your choice is to use the time to work out when you're in the yard and get it and read and have access or maybe get your GED while you're in there. We're not talking about the guys that are lifetimers. You're talking about somebody who did something
GED.
who
Some of these guys are getting law freaking degrees.
that's what I'm saying. There's people in there that are taking advantage of the fact that that they made a bad decision because they really do want to be reformed and they have to go through some pretty incredible crap inside our federal or our institutions, our prisons. Come on. There are people out there who did do things wrong that are serving their time and paying for their crime. And when they get out, they should have their rights restored if that's how it works.
Agreed. Agreed 100%. I've had that conversation with some people in my family actually, who are felons. One of the reasons, of course, is the ability to compound crimes that people commit. So if a felon is found with a weapon after they after they're like while they're on parole, they can go back to prison, or even after they're on after they've served their time and they're no longer on parole. If they're caught with a gun, then they can have a compounded prison sentence or jail time that's added on to that
Right.
because they're a felon that was discovered with a gun, even if it's in the same house. So a lot of that crap is just used for compounding those particular
Right.
crimes onto those villains as well. All right, Bryan, go ahead and give us yours.
All right,
Your
so
what you think is
there
fine
is
people
this
today.
video that has been surfacing, and I don't have a copy of the video handy, but the video has been surfacing that Border Patrol agents have cut through razor wire that was placed there by the Texas authorities to allow legals into the United States. So basically, what's happened is in a place called Eagle Pass down on the border, um, you have the Texas authorities who are putting up barriers and putting up obstacles to keep people on their side of the border, and the federal government has come in, and there are now videos showing where those borders have been deconstructed and destroyed so that illegal aliens can enter into the United States. It's basically as if the government is aiding them in. It goes on to say here that it says that the news correspondents shared a video on Twitter of the recent incident in which it was said that it occurred on a private property, according to the officials, with the Texas Department of Public Safety. The video from the source of the Eagle Pass shows the Border Patrol agents cutting through razor wire placed there by the state of Texas to allow migrants to enter and to be processed across or after the crossing illegally. So as you keep going down through here, basically what it looks like is that Governor Abbott is having a fit, and he's having some problems with what's happening. Um, and of course, you can imagine the conversations that went on Twitter with it about it's not right to keep people in and out or whatever. So That's the article.
I think I'm a little lost.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, you didn't give us the point of view of the article, so it's hard to tell whether or not you agree with it. But I think that your opinion on this situation would be that those Border Patrol agents should be stripped of duty. Because I don't know, like are they being told to do that? Federal's outweighing the state. That would be a states' rights issue, and I think that you would disagree with them doing that. That's my vote.
So give me a summary of the article once again.
So the
because
article
I'm
is
not
is
gonna
that the state of Texas has put up additional border security that they are using to, I guess, intensify or to
On private land.
fortify
So like
private
obviously the
land.
landowners have agreed for the state of Texas to place this barbed wire on their land.
Correct. So
Okay.
Texas residents and the Texas government has placed this barbed wire, razor wire across the areas where the migrants have been coming in. And as it turns out, the federal government has come in and cut the wire specifically to let the migrants come through anyways. So the state has taken action and the federal government has undone the action in order to allow the migrants to come through.
I mean, you got to give us easier ones or harder ones than these, Bryan.
I didn't. Mine wasn't that hard either. We need to work harder at making these more ambiguous. But you have
Keep
my vote.
going. You don't know my reasoning yet.
But well, first off, the federal government comes in onto private land and cuts wires or cuts fencing that the state had and the landowner agreed could be put up on their property. Am I tracking
Correct.
so far
Yes, sir.
correctly? Okay. The federal government comes in, cuts the fence, and removes it so that it could allow more illegal immigrants to come through. So they have violated a private contract between state and landowner, and they've also opened the borders at another point for more folks to come in.
Right.
So they've overstepped in two places. I mean, you're not setting them up, and Eric and I are knocking them out of the park on this one because I would be shocked if you agreed with the federal government in this position. I honestly would be absolutely
I do
shocked.
not agree with the federal government in this position, but I think it should go one step further. I think, and Erica was closer to being right. You're both right, but I think the only difference is that I would think that Texas has a reason now to actually take action against the federal government.
Yeah.
Like
I think it's a states' rights issue. Like push it.
It
Do
is a
it.
states' rights issue, and they have a reason now to actually sue the federal government
Yep.
and demand that it be corrected.
That'd be a fun one for the next Supreme Court session. Let's go
No
there.
kidding, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be great for the Supreme Court session there. All right, so here's mine. Here's my what you thinking. So far we're batting 1,000 on this.
Yeah,
man.
today's a good what you thinking day.
Supreme Court guts affirmative action, effectively ending race-conscious admissions. The Supreme Court, in a historic decision on Thursday, effectively ended race-conscious admission programs at colleges and universities across the country. In a decision divided along ideological lines, the 6-justice conservative supermajority invalidated admissions programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina. The decision reverses decades of precedent upheld over the years by narrow Supreme Court majorities that included Republican-appointed justices. It ends the ability of colleges and universities, public and private, to do what most say they will need to do, consider race as one of many factors in deciding which of the qualified applicants is to be admitted. Chief Justice John Roberts, a longtime critic of affirmative action programs, wrote the decision for the court majority, saying that the nation's colleges and universities must use colorblind criteria in admissions.
I'll go. I think you're all for this. Thank God. Finally. How about we take it out? I mean, you're going to pull this little thin, obscure piece out and go, well, they're still telling them they have to use race, but they have to use it with a whole bunch of other factors when making the decision. but I still think you're in favor of the decision being
I
in.
think he's against it.
You do?
I think he's against it.
He's for affirmative action?
He's got that goofy grin on his
I
face
know, but
that
he's got the goofy grin. I'm
yeah,
trying to figure out. He's
he's
gonna
I
pull
almost
some
turned my
little
camera
piece
off.
out of it that
against
says,
no, he's against it because I don't know exactly why, and I'm sure it's gonna make our heads explode, but yeah, he's against it.
"Oh, it's definitely gonna make my
He's
head
against it.
explode if he's against it." But okay, go ahead. I think he's for it.
I almost hid my camera so that you all would not see my face.
You don't hide it well.
When the words affirmative action came out of your mouth, I'm like, "Yep, he's against it."
What?
So you're saying that I'm against the Supreme
You're
Court
against the Supreme Court, yes.
overturning affirmative
That's what I'm
action
saying.
and race-based college
That's
admissions.
what I'm saying.
Okay, okay, you gotta go now. Tell me.
All right, after this break, we'll
No.
no, I'm just
I'm like, this is not a break time.
all right, Aaron, who is writer? I wonder what the people in the comments have to say about this.
Oh my god. Seriously?
You're just
Okay.
you are just getting rid of the bad theology segment. Come on, man.
I know. You
I
quit stringing it along.
agree with Erica. This decision is absolutely right.
Oh, okay. So she's 3 for 3.
That's
All right,
why I
good
wanted to
job.
hide my face.
Yes.
Good
Because
job.
I have not only, and I'll take it one now. I understand why affirmative action was put into place. I understand why the Civil Rights Act was signed by Bobby Kennedy or created essentially by him to help fight segregation in the South. I understand why this stuff started and why it was necessary at a certain point in history. And that's because, people would not hire blacks. They wouldn't hire a black guy because they're black and they automatically, they're whatever stereotype they have. They would say, I'm not hiring that
Right.
guy. Now, this forced them to hire people. Now, I'm not saying it's right. I see the reasoning behind it. I disagree with the Civil Rights Act, though, because I think the free market would have decided which businesses would have stayed and which businesses would have flopped. Because if you are a business that doesn't allow blacks, then that word is going to get around and nobody going to go to your business.
Right.
Just nobody's. I mean, look at what the LGBTQ community is doing now with certain organizations, right? And with the cancel culture. Now, to a certain extent, that's the way the free market operates. If the market decides that we're going to support this business, that's what we're going to support. Otherwise, otherwise you have to have government intervention to stop it. I think if you're going to college, it should be based on your merit. It should be based on your academic achievement. It should not be based on whether or not you're black or white or Indian or whatever, because we have so many people that are qualified to do something that are overlooked, and many people that are underqualified and hired or allowed or given admission. And this happens, it's not just with race, it happens with nepotism. I've watched it. I used to work at a place who hires their family and then pays their family more and then makes up bullshit lies saying, "Oh, my family, we have a law that says we could do this."
Okay.
They're lying.
It's ridiculous, though. I mean, what I find most interesting, and I probably need to just widen my search. I really thought there would be more black people out there that would be saying, "How dare you?" Like that Erica Marsh chick that came out and said that black people are never going to be able to succeed now because they took away affirmative action. If I was a black person, that would piss me off. I would be really angry that somebody said that I
Well,
needed extra help in order to be successful.
do you remember
Because
when
that's just ridiculous.
do you remember when they were talking about the voting? Every 4 years, it always comes up at voting about, you have to have an ID to vote, or you have to prove that you're a citizen to vote, or whatever. And every year they always or every 4 years they always make this big deal about how that it's discrimination against the minorities for not being able to have an ID or things like that. There's been a lot of people that went man on the street about this, and they've went out and they've said, they've walked up to African Americans, they've walked up to Hispanics or whatever, and they've said, "Hey, by the way, just a dumb curiosity, do you have a problem getting to a driver's license?" And like, no, we carry a driver's license everywhere. One guy, one African American man said, "I was told by my father, you never leave the house without an ID because you never know when you need to prove who you are." And it's like, I mean, he goes through this whole thing. He's like, so you don't have any trouble getting on the internet or anything like that. And I mean, they just go on and on and on and on and on. And these men on the street reports go back and say, for people to make that argument that affirmative action still needs to exist, I think they're making an argument that that anybody who is not white is still repressed today. And I'm sorry, but I disagree with that altogether.
Exactly.
In fact, I think it's the exact opposite, to be honest with you. I think that if you're white, you're more repressed than anybody else in the world. If you're a white male,
I don't think
or if
anybody's
you're
oppressed.
I'm gonna say white Christian men are some of the most repressed people in the world.
Okay, there's a difference between being repressed and being oppressed, because yes, I agree with you. Many white Christian males are repressed, but if you're saying they're the most oppressed, I don't know.
Oh, maybe
I
I
mean,
used the wrong prefix, but
right
yes.
now in this period of time, yes. But if that's the case, then I mean, they're also the majority. Stand up.
Yeah, there's a lot that could be said about that for sure. Sound off at breakdradio.com, click on the mic in the bottom right-hand corner. And I tried to avoid this bad theology segment as much as I could.
Nope.
But it looks like we're going to get it in. So Brian, go with the one, the really graphic one we were talking about first. Okay. And then that way everybody can see that. All right, everybody, here we go.
You're teaching some bad theology. Your bad theology's annoying me. Oh, you're teaching some bad theology. Repentance is the only cure that you need.
All right, it's time for the bad theology segment, where it's morphed into Brian trying to make my face completely explode off of my neck. And we play videos and also talk about those segments of the evangelical Christianity or Christianity in general that has absolutely horrible theology. All right, Brian, what's going on here, man? What do we got up on the docket today for the very first one? Actually, for the one we were talking about previously.
So the one we were talking
right,
about previously, I think it's important to know that this was a comment or a conversation that was shared with me recently. I thought that it was a little interesting. I was having major issues with the fact that it was actually a church. I'm not even sure if it's a Christian church. All I know is that this is something that is completely blasphemous at best. Completely blasphemous at best. So if you're watching this, I would tell you, if your kids are watching this, probably not a good time for them to be looking at the screen. Although you don't,
who watch us.
well, you
well,
don't.
I mean, if Knights is out there, yeah.
You don't see anything specifically, but there are some things going on here that are just not right. So, are you ready?
All right, here we go, folks. This
here you go.
Is, yeah. We got no volume, Brian.
Sorry, excuse me. Well, okay, hang on.
For those who are listening, this is a female pastor giving holy breast milk to male members. So this female pastor, quoting fingers, is preaching, and she pulls out her breast from her dress, and a guy just starts going on. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly, Mikey. Exactly.
If you all remember, like, mute that down. So if y'all remember, we used to do a Whiskey Tango Foxtrot segment. If we still did the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot segment, that would
be
be
the winner of all
That
time.
would be it. Yes.
numero uno.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't even
So-
know that there's anything you can say about that.
Well, I don't think there is either. I think the most important thing to remember is that number one, I don't think that this is a Christian church at all. Number two, I don't think that this is actually a thing. And if they do say that this is a Christian church, or if they try to put the Christian church on this, I'm going to tell you right now, this is complete sacrilege and this is utter abomination.
Well, plus it can't be an all the time thing. I mean, you're not always producing breast milk.
Well,
what happened? I mean, what do they have backups? You know?
I'm just going to ask. I'm just going to say one thing and one thing only. It did not sound like that she was enjoying herself because she was giving milk. It sounded like something else.
Oh gosh, Brian.
Yeah, no, it was horrific. You don't have to go into it. And she screams, "Oh Jesus, oh Jesus, oh Jesus." So that makes it even worse. But I can't tell by the music in the background or the surrounding area if they're actually in a church. So I don't know. But the whole thing, it doesn't even matter. Does it matter where they are? It doesn't matter if she just officiated a wedding somewhere and that's happening after at the reception. It's not
Agreed.
correct.
Completely.
That's not correct in
No,
any way.
Oh, well, it was happening in a reception. Okay, we're fine with that now.
No, I'm just
Well,
saying it
I'm
doesn't
not
matter where it
fine with
was.
but that's neither here nor there. So there you
It
go.
doesn't matter where it was.
Yeah, for real. All right, Brian, do you have any other ones for us there?
I do have a couple more for you. I think you're going to enjoy this one too, Aaron. This is one that comes out of a church.
And just to give you all a heads up, by the way, we're going to do an overdrive here coming up. So we're actually going to, if that's okay with you two, we're going to go beyond 11 o'clock and do like we normally do. And we're going to stay live over on D Live and Facebook and on YouTube for as long as we're able to on
just
YouTube.
Throws that out at 2 minutes before we're done.
Yeah, well, because I know
I'm good. I'm good.
I know we're not going to get through all of this, and I think it may have screwed up my D Live channel somehow. But anyway, we'll figure that out at the break. Brian, go ahead.
All right, so this one is the new church. So again, we have a female officiant here who is dressed in all kinds of priestly garb, and I was tagged in this about 1,700 times this week. Everybody and their brother was asking me to take a look at this video. So, Aaron, if you'll share the video for me.
Shared.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and let us confess our faith today in the words of the Sparkle Creed. I believe.
The Sparkle Creed.
The Sparkle Creed. Okay, folks, look, that's all the time we have on our networks, on Crusade Channel and on Mojo. Thank you so much for staying with us. Don't forget, you can go to breaktbradio.com, share the show with as many people as you can, tell everybody about it. We're going to continue on here on the streaming side, talking about this and some other things, so stay with us. Bryan and Erica and me all say, until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. All right, I think we're good. Sorry about that. So, all right, we're going to stop that, and we're going to stop that. All right, my dog's over here. Hey, Ginger. Hey, girl. How you doing, puppy? She's over here saying hi. So, all right, so let's continue on with this, Brian. If you want to go ahead and start this over, then we'll start watching it for everybody. Thanks for continuing to stay with us. But yeah, I saw now, Brian, I saw this Sparkle Creed. Not through you. I saw this through someone else, and I was reading through it, and I'm like, this is stupid.
It's not only is it stupid, it has absolutely no basis in any kind of doctrinal. I mean, there's nothing. Well, just keep going. And of course, now it wants to sit
to buffer.
It wants to buffer. Why is it buffer?
At least we're not live, right?
Oh, Mikey, I think Indiana Mike has seen this. He's saying it made him angry.
Yeah. Well, it made me
I
angry.
mean, yeah, it's been all over everywhere this week, but play it. Please. Sorry.
I invite you to rise in body or spirit, and let us confess our faith today in the words of the Sparkle Creed.
Sparkle Creed.
I believe in the non-binary God, whose pronouns are plural. I believe in Jesus Christ, their child, who wore a fabulous tunic and had 2 dads, and saw everyone as a sibling child of God. I believe in the rainbow spirit, who shatters our image of one white light and refracts it into a rainbow of gorgeous diversity. I believe in the Church of Everyday Saints, as numerous, creative, and resilient as patches on the AIDS quilt, whose feet are grounded in mud and whose eyes gaze at the stars in wonder. I believe in the calling to each of us that love is love is love. So, beloved, let us love. I believe, glorious God, help my unbelief. Amen.
What in the actual world is
That
this
is the
all
only
about?
part that's even scriptural is help my unbelief.
The only, I mean, I don't know what's
Jesus
more
does have 2
disturbing.
dads.
Yeah. I mean, what's
Huh?
more disturbing?
Go ahead, Erica. Sorry.
What's more disturbing? That she is allowed to stand up there and say it and come up with that crackhead bull, or the fact that there are enough people in that congregation, and I use that word lightly, who are reciting it, obviously from memory. I don't see
Like
anybody
what?
holding up any books, and you can hear them. You can hear the people in the crowd reciting it like this is not the first time they've said that.
No.
That's the problem, because if that wasn't happening, she wouldn't be allowed to do stuff like that.
No, she wouldn't.
Well, and the fact that they're even the fact that they're even allowing this to go on in a church, that
Rusty says it has that new fresh house smell.
oh jeez, no kidding.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I was just saying the fact that they're even that this is even being seen as a church setting, and that people think that they're getting their religious affiliations or the religious fix from this organization is kind of crazy. Now, Aaron, there was another one that I found, and I'm trying to find it now in our chat. It wasn't from our chat; it was from this other group that I'm in. Here it is. It is called this. This is the Sparkle Creed as it's written, and okay. So I think this actual church was from a lady in Berea, Kentucky. Her name is, let's see here.
I thought it was. I think that's a Lutheran church.
Yeah, it's from the
Lutheran.
UCC.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is her name? What is her name?
Come on, Brian. We're on radio, man. We're on
Rachel Smalls. Rachel Smalls Stokes is her name.
Rachel
And she
Smalls
is from the
Stokes.
UCC church in Berea, Kentucky. So this is going on in small town USA. This is still going on as a big deal. I think that's kind of crazy myself. I would have never thought in Berea that, because Berea is a very small country town. I can't imagine there's that many people that are attending a church that would accept that. That's crazy.
Now that the young lady you just played, she's from Kentucky.
Well, I don't know if that's specifically her. I originally saw the Sparkle Creed post, and it's by Rachel Small Stokes, and she is a female pastor from a UCC church in Berea, Kentucky.
United Churches of Christ. That's probably a Disciples of Christ church, which is traditionally an extremely liberal denomination of Christianity.
Are they really?
Yeah, the Disciples of Christ, absolutely.
I did not know that. Okay.
The Church of Christ is there's no affiliation, there's no denomination of the Church of Christ or Christian church. I mean, they may have like loose affiliations, but they are independent churches, and then there are different sects of them too. It's based on Campbellism or the Campbellite theology of the baptismal regeneration,
Not
the
cannibalism.
I did. It sounded like he said cannibalism, and I was like, he did not just say that with a straight face. What?
Yeah, but like the restoration movement that happened back in the 1800s, that comes out of the baptism is required for salvation. All of
Right.
those types of churches, they're different autonomous churches, and then the Disciples of Christ has been extremely liberal wing of that too. So
Exactly.
I can see. I mean, I think there can be crazy leaders in any organized body of anything, right? It could be a church,
Well, and that's
it
the
could
other
be a
thing that you've got.
business. You're gonna have it. I'm truly concerned about the fact that there are people who will walk into that and then walk back into it again and think that was okay. That was kind of cool. I really think, I don't know. I don't know. I
Well,
still think
again,
people like this lay down at night and are terrified of dying because they know that all this crap that they're doing while they're alive is only making them feel better right now. And when they actually are gone, they wouldn't be going to a church of any kind if they didn't at least believe in a higher power. So
well,
there's that.
if they're
And you
not
can't tell
afraid
me
of
that
it,
they're
they
not
should
afraid.
be. Yeah, if they're not afraid of it, they should be.
And I
that's
don't think
interesting,
any
Eric.
of this stuff they're doing now is making them do anything but feel better now about what their lifestyle choices are or what they've done or where they find themselves. And it's too hard. The human mind can only deal with so much.
Right.
We're only
Right.
built to deal with so much. So if what you have to deal with is living your life with the knowledge that you're condemned to burn forever, you're going to do whatever you need to do to cope.
And then what you do with that is you just say, "Oh, I don't believe that anymore,"
Right.
because it's easier.
Yep.
Right. But I still
100%.
believe in God, and God loves me, and God's wonderful. And as long as you believe in God, God wouldn't do that to you.
Well, and this is starting to
Mm.
embrace the things like the universalism. I mean, I've had conversation after conversation with a couple people that are in my circle that have made comments about, well, Jesus fixed it all, and that he reconciled the cosmos. And we were having a discussion yesterday about Carlton Pearson, who started uh, this movement.
Well, he didn't
More on it.
start the movement.
He didn't start the movement, but he really pushed it to the forefront, probably back in the late '90s. And he was a Pentecostal pastor who was out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he started preaching that there was no hell, and that God told him there was no hell. And there was
well,
one
if
other
God
video.
told him.
Yeah, well, if God told him, that's all that matters. Aaron, there was one other video that I wanted to play that I don't know if we'll have time to play it on
I mean,
the show. But
saying that God told you is more valid than getting your beliefs from a salamander while you're tripping on mushrooms in the woods, right? I mean, isn't that where
But not as fun.
No.
This is one, Aaron, that I wanted to play for you that I thought was pretty good. Let's see. That's not the one that's sharing. All right, play the one that's sharing right now, because the one that's sharing right now is kind of funny, and this is more comical than anything. But we'll play this one real quick.
Well, praise God. I'm glad you got saved.
I'm also filled with the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah.
Whoa, duck tongues. Amen. I'm glad you're filled with the Holy Ghost. Amen.
So that was more of a comical thing. I am not one who agrees with mocking the Holy Spirit like that. So yeah, that's dangerous in and of itself. But here's the other one I was going to play for you that I think is kind of interesting. I just actually found this one kind of late on the roster. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. This guy says that Christ was 85% in error.
85% in error.
85% in
only
error.
85%. Okay,
yeah, only 85%.
Just by the way, if you is there a maximize button on your screen?
There is
for this?
not.
Okay.
I don't know why. I don't know how to do that on. I've got to figure out a way
you
to
on
get
your
these
phone?
videos.
Yeah, are you like on a tablet or something like that?
No, I'm on my
Those three
computer.
dots. What are those three dots right there?
Those three dots just basically say report, transcript, and
Doesn't have
keyboard.
okay, it
Click
doesn't
on
have a
the
maximize.
hamburger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really. I mean, okay, go ahead and play that,
This
Brian.
is great.
Can't hear it.
So Christ was out of order 85% of his life.
85% of Jesus' life, he was out of order.
Okay. Now he's got the
85% of his life,
pregnant silence.
he was doing what he was not called to do. God, y'all done got quiet.
Did he just blaspheme too?
85% of his life, he was not flowing in his God-given function. 85% of his life, he is doing what his natural father wanted.
Somebody screamed, "Stop!"
But it did not line up with his divine DNA.
What?
85% of his life, and he's anointed, he's called, he's chosen, and he's wrong.
What?
Mm-hmm.
So I assume what he's saying is that until he was 30 years old, until his public ministry started, that was the 85%
That
of
was
his
the
life that was
85%.
wrong.
That's what he was saying. Yes.
Okay, so when he says he was wrong, though, that's what I mean. He could use that as a dramatic, like 85% of the time, he was was not in ministry or something like that. You could find some way to use that as a dramatic way, but saying that Jesus was wrong, that's stupid, like really, really dumb.
Yes.
How does that even make sense? Was he supposed to be the Dalai Lama, like the little kid sitting on the carpet, and everybody was going to listen to him? I don't know.
Apparently.
No, I don't think that was the point.
Well, when he was 12, they were listening to him in the temple.
Right.
He was asking questions, but nobody wasn't teaching. He was asking them questions and talking back and forth, and they were shocked at how much he still knew and how much he understood. But
he
was
wasn't
not
doing it wrong.
Yeah,
No.
that's
No.
bad theology right there. Jesus
No.
Christ is perfect. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's impeccable.
And
Not only
everything
is
that he has ever done has been perfect.
How was it supposed to be him dying for our sins if he wasn't fully human?
See, and Erica, that right there is a fundamental part of theology that most Christians today do not understand. The fact that you grasp onto that is a very important part of why Christians and why the divinity of Christ and the theology of Christ is so important. Because if he was not perfect, then everything he did was useless.
And right. Aaron, I think Brian just gave me a theology compliment.
I
think
did.
he did.
I did.
Okay, that was so
I'll give you an
cool.
award if you want one. I've got an excellent.
No. I just don't understand. It wouldn't have if he was still part
But you have to remember that
one
there
and
are
part the
there are
other, then
Catholic
dying for
bishops.
us wouldn't have mattered.
There are Catholic bishops and Catholic cardinals today that believe that Christ was not the Son of God.
Listen, I'm pretty sure we
That's
all
been
know
going
how
on
I feel about the Catholic Church. So
No, I
That's been
understand.
going on for a long time. There's adoptionism that teaches he wasn't actually divine until his baptism with John and the Holy Spirit descended upon him. At that point, he became he became divine. There are people that believe that he was not God in human flesh. All of that, they still do, or they have taught that for centuries. It's been
how are they doing that? Okay. This is not even the crux of the discussion. I don't want to tangent everyone, but you can't sit there and perform transubstantiation or receive communion if you are saying that that is not the full. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Sorry. Go ahead.
I agree 100%. Brian, do you have any other bad theology that we could talk about, or
No other bad theology
Okay.
currently. I do have one video. It's a little bit longer, but there's a 5-minute video that I have of a pastor who is being his church board has told him he has to resign, and they created an entire facade about his resignation, and he exposes them in front of the church on Sunday morning.
Wow.
5 minutes? That's an awful lot.
Well, we can skim
That's
through it if
long.
you want. We can skim through it if you want, but it's a pretty. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't know if we would have time. I know 5 minutes is a lot of time on the air.
Yeah,
But
we can drop that in the comments or put that on the website for people to go watch. And I'll take a look at it as well. But yeah, that's an awful lot to get into right now. So, and it also sounds like a lot of church drama too. So,
well, it wasn't so much church drama. The church, apparently, from what I can see, the church decided to support him. There was only 2 church board members, so I'm imagining the church is not that big. But in the beginning of the video, he pleads. He says, "Media team, don't cut my mic off. In the name of Jesus, don't cut my mic off." And he goes in. These people were dumb enough to put this in writing and give him the contract to sign. And basically, long story short, they said that they were going to come out and be surprised that the announcement was being made. They were going to have a going away party. However, if he didn't resign, he was going to be. They were going to put like a protection order in place where he couldn't be near the church, like within 50 miles of the church if he was in the same city. Which I can't even imagine 50 miles of a city. That doesn't make any sense. But he says he's got the contract to prove it. So,
wow,
that's crazy. I got a couple other stories here I want to get to that's not down the theology lane.
Okay.
But one of them, I think, to me, the pilot is going to be interested in. This is the now, of course, we all remember Back to the Future 2, right? Absolutely love that movie. Back to the Future is probably up there with some of my favorite movies like Terminator. Oh man! After this, you have to remind me, Erica. Brian watched the Terminator, and he is like a double-minded man. A double-minded man. Yeah, I don't understand. So we could talk about this, but this is the first ever flying car. It's Model A, approved by the FAA, and it's 100% electric. Aleph Aeronautics revealed its flying car Model A was granted legal permission from Federal Aviation Administration to test run the vehicle on the road and in the sky, and a move needed before it can be released to the public. Aleph, I think that's how you pronounce it, is the first company to receive a special airworthiness certification from the FAA. The company said in a news release, the certification limits and the locations and purpose for which the vehicle is allowed to fly. It will also need to meet National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration safety standards before taking flight. And the company's CEO, Jim Duchovny, not Michael Duchovny, this isn't the X-Files, says the company is hopeful the certification will be our next step. So here is what the car looks like. Let's see here real quick. And I got a video as well of a little bit of what it looks like too. Here is what the car looks like. So it's like this right here is like a mesh. I don't know if it's hard plastic or if it's soft, but this is a mesh right there. And you can see the wheels and all that. It's big enough for 2 lightweight people is what they say. And interestingly enough, it is the videos that they show of it when it flies weird. Let me see if I can pull this video up of it flying weird here. But could you imagine sitting in traffic and then all of a sudden flipping on your motors, lifting up, flying over the traffic, landing, and then boom.
I mean, I've seen it in my head a million times. I'm a million times. I've seen my car raise up on super tall wheels and just go. I've seen it all of it. Yes, I want this. When can I have this?
Well, for a mere $300,000,
okay,
this car can be yours.
Okay.
They're accepting deposits. So you can pay $150 to get your name on the waiting list, or $1,500 to get your name on the preferred list. It's like I guess like a gold membership or something like that.
Okay, so and when do they think they're going to come out? Like $1,500. Am I going to die before they're actually approved?
2025. 2025.
Oh my God.
Yes. So here's what it looks like. It flies sideways.
Yes. Does your seat rotate so you're not sideways?
Yeah, it's at the B-wing factor. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look at that car, though. I mean, it looks really cool. I think it looks cool.
Oh,
And then it flips like that. So right in here, you can't see. I guess this. I don't know if this is a simulation. I think this might be an actual flight. But right in here, there are motors with your blades on them, and then all of this is mesh, as you can see. So you flip sideways like that, and then you fly. It can go 132 miles, I think, is what they said it could fly. Let's see what the mileage is, because it is now. Now remember, it's all electric. It will only drive 25 miles an hour on a paved surface. And then there'll be, if you want to go faster, you'll be able to use the vehicle's flight capabilities. Pre-sales are open, and $150 deposit gets you on the waiting list, $1,500 for a priority spot on the list. And it says it has a
car.
Yes, I know. I know everybody's freaking out about the electric, but I'm telling you what.
No, I don't care. It's flying. I'm in the air. I don't care.
It can drive a range of 200 miles. So drive on the pavement 200 miles,
Oh,
and a
come on.
flight range of 110 miles.
Look at Timmy the pilot over in D Live. It's basically a drone. It's ridiculous. Whatever. Come on. You're telling me you're not gonna you wouldn't want one? You know, if somebody put your 1,500 down for you so you could be on the preferred list and you got a flying car, you'd be Zoom with your little GoPro camera, you'd be filming it all over the place. Don't lie.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's not the way I would want it to look, because I'm kind of like more like the Jetsons car that looks like a normal car floating through the air, or Back to the Future. But I mean,
I love this.
It is cool for the technology that it is.
Can
I mean,
it spin? Like I'm down. I'm down for this. I have ideas. Yes.
And to answer Timmy's question about the drone, or not necessarily a question, but a comment about the drone,
Who
is there's a lot
cares?
of guys that are building. They're building these. I think they call them octocopters, where they've got these large blades all around them, and you know, obviously it's a weight thing, because you've got to have it. The guy's got to be so
Oh,
small.
yeah.
You know, the guy's
I'm
got
not
to
going to be
so
able to fly on that sucker.
No, exactly not. You know, so me either, obviously. But what I'm getting at is the fact that it's a possibility. It's a real possibility.
I mean, it is real. I mean, they even show a scene in here, and you can see right here, it rotates while you're in it. I mean, that would be freaking awesome. I mean, there is even one here. It has a vertical takeoff. There is one of the shots in this video where it simulates it being in a traffic jam, and it lifts straight up, just flies over the traffic jam, and lowers straight down without the rotation. So, I mean, it's really awesome. I would be all over this. If I had 300K, here it is right here. If I had 300K, then I would be spinning it on this. There it goes right there, Erica. Lift it up.
Yeah, look at this. Okay.
Vertical takeoff.
Yeah, but that's not.
Here's my only problem. Here's my only problem with this. I think it's a city car until it can go faster on the ground. Because you're not going to be out in the country and run into a traffic jam. If you're in the city, you're going to go 25 miles an hour most of the time anyway. You're not hauling ass through Manhattan. But if you had that, you could just fly through Manhattan. That would be amazing. Are you kidding?
Well, it looks fake, Timmy, because that's a simulated video. So it's a simulation, which means it's not real. It's just a computer generated computer graphic of it. But there were some shots in there of it actually flying. I mean, like the car itself, like actually flying. But anyway, yeah, I honestly, now I guess Timmy's getting so upset because he's a pilot and he's afraid
mad.
he's going to take his job or something like that. I don't know.
He's mad that, anyone can fly, Timmy. Anyone.
Because I'm all over it, because think about this. The one thing, costs for traveling is down. So summer travel costs are at record highs. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I said that wrong. Costs for traveling is high.
Right.
Record highs, except for one thing they say. So hotel airfare, rental car prices are up since 2020, but evidently gas prices are down 19% across the nation.
Since when? Yesterday?
That's I don't know. I'm trying to figure that part out.
I mean,
So here is, let me see here.
if you're talking about
This
they're
is
down that much from January when they were $5, okay, maybe I'll believe that, but it's not like gas is cheap.
I was wrong. It's down 25% over last year at this time. So it's down
Right.
25% over
Okay.
last year.
So yeah, it was crazy last year. It was like $5 a gallon for gas.
Yeah, yeah. And now
And
it's
that's just in the Midwest.
so I guess it really depends on if you're traveling. All the hotels are up 19% compared to last year. Airfares are up 10% over last year. Rental cars are 50% higher than pre-pandemic rates. And your gas is down 25%. So I don't know if that actually, if the gas being down 25%, depending on how you're getting there, how that matches or how that reduces your overall cost for traveling. I mean, like if you're traveling 1,000 miles, yeah, that'll probably help you out because you're not renting a car, but you're
Right.
traveling 1,000 miles and you're staying in a hotel. So are you breaking even?
I mean, if you got all day to get there, because you're gonna have to fly that thing, so and you can only go 130 some odd miles, you said. So
110 miles. 110 miles.
where are you trying to go? If I'm trying to go from Indiana to California, I don't want that. That's gonna take too long.
Timmy
You know?
posted this. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're definitely, I mean, like this is not the flying car from Aleph here is not going to
This is a
be,
city vehicle where you
yeah,
can land
it's not,
it on the top of the parking garage of the building that you live in, and then you drive it down into your parking spot. That's what you could do for it right now. But it would still be super fun to have, like, on an island. If you lived on an island, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
oh yeah, it would be like if your island was only 90 miles off the coast and you could fly. Oh yeah,
Right.
that'd be awesome. I
Right.
mean, like, cause I used to, when I lived out in the country, I lived out in a rural area and I was about 50 miles from a church I was preaching at. And I was preaching pretty regularly, like every Sunday. And but there was no easy way to get there. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was literally a one-stop sign town. And you had to go all these back roads the entire way. And it was windy. My wife couldn't go with me because she got car sick. You're driving all the way out there. And there was just no easy way. And I always thought, I was like, have you seen those parachute things where you're sitting in a seat and then it's run by a wind fan, but you've got a parachute where you hang? And I think it's called,
Parasailing.
I don't know if it's parasailing. Parasailing is when you got a boat. Like this is an independent thing
Yeah, it
where
has a
you go
big
out in a field.
fan behind the chair that you're sitting in,
Yeah,
and you take
or
off and it blows
paragliding
the
or something
air.
like that.
Paragliding, I
Paragliding.
think it's
I think
called.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, man, if I could have a paraglider, I could be there in like a fraction of the time. So I'm seeing this car and I'm like, man, if I had $300,000, I could fly to that church and preach. That would be
Aaron,
amazing.
you could actually invest in something like a gyrocopter, which is from what I've been told, they're impossible to crash because even if the engine dies, the propeller is designed so that it continues to rotate as you come down. Um, but those are not very expensive at all. I mean, you're talking, $15,000-$16,000 for one of these gyrocopter things,
No
and
way.
it's very much like it's very much like what you're talking about here, but it's used for short hops. I mean, you can. I think it's travel span is like 200 miles. I think
Is it
Well,
electric
and
or is
like
it fuel?
it's
Rusty's
fuel.
saying it's not he's saying we're decades away at minimum from battery technology to make it possible. This is coming out in 2025. They're taking orders. These are
Yeah, but it's not. That's not electric, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it
Aaron,
is.
was that
That's
car
all electric.
electric?
The
Yeah, it's
whole
electric.
thing,
It's like,
yeah.
See, that would scare the crap out of me, anyways.
yeah, I think what would scare the crap out of me is you flying a car. Here's what Timmy
Right?
posted.
Amen.
Here's
There
what
you
Timmy
go.
posted
I
in the
like that
chat.
one. I like
Yeah,
that one.
this is like this is like the Aleph car is almost like the beta male of the cars, and this is the alpha male of the
Yeah,
flying cars.
this is the beast right here.
Yeah, so like, let me see here if there's a video here to play.
Timmy also wants his own jet. Imagine what he can do for it.
I'll mute that. Look at that thing though. That does
Jimmy,
look.
if I ever become one of those rich televangelists, I'll hire you as my pilot.
There you
That
go.
car does look awesome right there. But how much does this car cost? I mean, this car here, what in the world?
Yeah, because then you can just drive it down the road. Nice fin. I mean, aerodynamically, it makes a lot of sense. Oh, look at that.
I mean, that's got to cost millions, though.
Are those
Oh,
solar
yeah.
panels under that? It looked like there were solar panels under that
Look
somehow.
how the guy looks a little dumpy, though, sitting in there. He looks like a little Oompa Loompa.
Well, I don't think you could be a
Boom,
large man.
boom,
I mean, isn't there a height limit to pilots anyway?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room. There's no back seat.
That is a pretty sweet flying car right there.
Well, the
Regardless of how you
Harrier
get there,
jet,
that'd be
the
amazing.
Harrier jet itself is not very big. I mean, you can't. I remember when that movie True Lies came out, and everybody was talking about Schwarzenegger being in the cockpit of the Harrier jet. He would never fit in the Harrier jet. That's tiny.
All right. Oh gosh. Okay, here we
You're
go.
gonna bring
Brian.
it up, aren't you? There
I'm
you
going to
go.
bring it up because we got to talk about it.
We got to
All
talk
right.
about it.
So, Brian, you watched Terminator.
I watched Terminator.
Don't freaking
Oh,
remind me on
God,
air
I can't believe this happened. I saw it happening, but I didn't comment on it. So what? How are you? How are you?
I mean,
Rusty said, by the
first
way,
of
that
all, I guess I bought the movie. It was like $15 on Amazon or whatever. I thought it was a rental, but
Wow,
maybe
you splurged.
yeah, I guess.
he did not spend $15 on a freaking rental. If you spent $15 on that, that's
I
dumb.
mean, it's only supposed to be like $3.99 or something.
Yeah,
I
mean,
bought
like,
the movie then. Okay, I bought it. Anyways,
You bought it. He
I bought it.
Okay, good. Now you
I bought
finally
it.
admitted this is the third time you brought that up.
I bought it. Okay, so I paid $15.99 for the stupid movie. It is stupid. All right, so the
Did you
movie,
hear that, Erica?
the
Yeah,
movie and
I
the
got it.
premise, the movie and the premise, as I said last week, I like the movie and the premise. However, it was done in the late 80s or whenever it was. So that premise has been replayed multiple times. It was not a new premise to me, and so it wasn't like my mind was completely blown. It was also the fact that the animatronics and the claymation or whatever was really, really cheesy. But again, it's also 20 years after the fact. So I mean, I'll give it.
It's not 20 years after the
It
fact. It's
wasn't
almost
in a
40 years later.
Is it almost
Yeah.
40? Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Please,
So-
okay, can we just not focus on the cinematography and the awards that nobody pays attention to anyway? What did you think? I mean, possible responses? Brr, come on. Like, that happens to me every day. Someone says something to me, and I'm instantly the Terminator, and all the possible responses are showing up in my brain, just
You're a
like
little
in that.
short to be the Terminator, aren't you?
That's why I have to live vicariously through him. Come on.
Well, okay.
Tell-
all right.
You can't. Of course, it's cheesy. Of course, it's from forever and ago, right? But so is Back to the Future.
No,
in my
I
mind,
get it. I get
right?
it. Just like just like the comment was made there, just about it would have had to be there in 1984. I agree. In '84, it was probably phenomenal. I mean, because you're talking about that's just when Star Wars was coming out, and the last couple of like Indiana Jones movies were coming out. So I mean, yeah, I mean, it was good for what it was. I didn't think it was life changing. I wouldn't say that I'd sit down and watch it again.
Oh my gosh, I would watch that movie anytime it came on television.
Oh, I probably wouldn't do that. I can't go that far.
Anytime. I would watch when Genesis came out. I went back and watched the first several movies just to prepare myself for Genesis to watch that one.
Oh,
But
I'm
I will
sure you
say
did.
this: in '84, I was not allowed to watch that movie because I was in school, and Mom and Dad would not let me watch that movie because it was dirty.
Now,
Because it was rated R.
It was
okay.
rated R, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Now you cannot. Now, first off, back in 1984, when that was released, October 26, 1984, the production budget was $6.4 million. Its opening weekend, it got $4 million. The domestic box office over $38 million. Worldwide box office over $78 million. Okay.
Wow.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day, production budget $100 million. Opening weekend $31.7 million. Domestically $203.4 million. Worldwide box office $515.3 million.
Yeah.
Total from all 5 of the movies, even Dark Fate, Genesis, Salvation, Rise of the Machines, Judgment Day, and the original, $2,074,463,861. Now, the first Terminator, aside from the fact that it was the machines that were sending back a Terminator to kill the leader of the Resistance, John Connor, the second Terminator movie is, oh my gosh, it is in the franchise. It is probably the best out of all of the movies. I would definitely encourage you to go back and watch that movie.
So
If you
I
walk
tend
away from
to.
T2 thinking that movie was it was all right, it's not, it was okay. We might not be able to be friends anymore.
Well, I'm all willing to go back and watch the more of the Terminator series, but like I said, for what it was, and Aaron, let me actually go a little bit further in that. The premise of something coming back from the future to fix something in the past, like I said,
No.
20 or 30 years later, that's been played out in so many different scenarios on so many different other franchises that it wasn't like earth shattering to me. In
But hold
I
on,
1984,
don't think
take
we
that.
were supposed to be watching it because the concept of the movie was gonna be mind-blowing. That's not
well, I'm not.
that wasn't it.
Well, let me ask you, what was your goal, Aaron, for me watching it? Because maybe I missed it. Maybe I was looking for the wrong thing.
We have been talking about AI. We've been talking about machines. We've been
Okay.
talking about their ability to take off, to take off in their creation and to develop their own logic. That's what
Gotcha.
happened to Skynet. Skynet was created. Skynet decided that the humans were the problem, so they began a war against the humans via Judgment Day, right? Judgment Day is coming. That's what caused the dystopic future in the Terminator franchise. So you've always got that. The Rise of the Machines, that's Terminator 3, I think, the Rise of the Machines. But that concept of the logic and the fuzzy logic, the ability for them to see humans as the problem was the thing that we were talking about mainly. All right.
Right.
I wasn't expecting you to come out of this with a religious experience, but to appreciate the fact that, I mean, because you can replace, it's not that it's just the machines or the AI. It's you can replace Skynet with anything. Skynet is the New World Order. It's the police state. It's martial law. It's all of these things that are coming against us, and we're the resistance that are fighting, even when we have to bury ourselves underground and eat as little as possible to survive, when people are still making it and still living and still surviving and still opposing this grand worldwide regime that desires to destroy them.
Now, from
And
that perspective, you can definitely see where Terminator was well ahead of its time. I mean, yeah, it was talking about stuff that we're seeing come to pass now. So I totally, I mean, the idea behind it, I get, but it's been, to me, and because I'm such a sci-fi fan, it's been played out on so many different scenarios. It just did not have that impact that I guess that's what I was missing.
well, you also have to look at, Erica, feel free to jump in here anytime. They don't look at it as the past going back or the future going back in the past to fix something. That's not what the Skynet was doing. Skynet was going back in the past to break the future so that
Right.
they would ultimately win. They weren't trying to fix it. They were trying to destroy it.
They were trying to
Because
change
John
the
Connor was the
outcome,
leader
right.
of the resistance. And
Understood.
if you can kill his mom before she has him, then I mean then you got it. You've destroyed the resistance.
Right.
I understand.
He's just not getting it. I think there's a cultural appreciation side of it, of seeing it at the time, and there's that part that he's missing too, Aaron. Like
What was that again now?
the cultural aspect of it that made the movie bigger, like not just that whole, but we were talking about it in terms of that. But for us, it was a lot bigger too. If you saw it at the time, there was a whole cultural piece to that. Like, how does he even appreciate how funny it is that Schwarzenegger was in public office if you don't get the Terminator? I don't even know. Like, how do you find? There's just an aspect that's like saying you never watched the Brady
Well,
Bunch.
I will
There's
say
just a
this.
cultural aspect of life that you're missing and have been missing since 1984 that the rest of us can make random jokes and references to that until now you didn't get.
I
There's
will
that.
say this,
I'll be back.
and I've talked to Aaron about this privately too, but it seems to me like when I go back and watch these nostalgic movies, I do kind of catch myself being the old curmudgeon going, man, I wish I could go back to the 80s. It was such a simpler time. And it was,
Oh God.
I mean, the music and
When
there is
I
like,
was young, yeah, please, can we not? I'm not even going there yet. We're not
well,
going
but
there.
I have. I mean, like I really love the 80s music. I love um the culture of the 80s. I mean, there's so much about it that I'm like, because even Deb made the comment about 19 or that Back to the Future came out at the same time Terminator did. To me, Back to the Future was a better story. I think it was better put together. The fact that they already knew they were going to make 3 movies when they made the first one, which was pretty awesome. There were so
Those
many
movies are great.
Easter eggs. Huh?
Those movies are great. Some of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
The
the Easter
Terminator is
eggs
some
that
of
were
my
hidden
absolute favorite movies, and
those
Back to the
Easter eggs
Future as
that were
well.
hidden in the Back to the Future series were ridiculous. I mean, they took some time putting that stuff together. So, but anyways, that's just what I'm thinking. So,
Oh, the Lord Reverend Professor Rusty J. Lugnut has a question for you.
he says, off the top of your head, what other movies have the premise that the Terminator and go? So, well, there
Oh,
was
well, iRobot.
there was
he wasn't
iRobot.
asking you, Erica. He was
Oh,
asking Brian.
So there was iRobot. There was that was the AI.
If
There
this were my
was
show, I could say something.
there was
I'm gonna mute.
of course Back to the Future, but they didn't really solve any catastrophic events. They did solve like a personal timeline issue. You had, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. There was the Minority Report. There was before
Minority Report
Terminator.
wasn't about that.
Huh?
The Minority Report wasn't about time travel.
I thought they were arresting people for crimes they knew they were going to commit in the future.
No, they were predictive.
Yeah,
Those
it
were
was a predictive
psychic
program, yeah.
people predicting crimes
Yeah.
based on trends and
He said before
behaviors.
Terminator. I don't know any that came off before Terminator there, Rusty, if that's what you're asking. Sorry.
I
I don't
mean-
know any before Terminator. So it was groundbreaking. Honestly, the premise itself was groundbreaking. Now, there were sci-fi authors that talked
Yeah,
about
there
it
were
before
author.
then.
It had been written about way before
Yeah, it
Terminator,
had,
the
so
movie was made.
Asimov wrote about it. There was a couple other ones that were actually one of my favorite short stories by Isaac Asimov was called "How Easy to See the Future," and there were some great short stories about everything in there. So again, I'm not
I mean,
saying
you
it's a bad
had
movie.
1984.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not that it's a bad movie. It's just I guess I missed it. I missed the boat first time around.
Yeah, maybe there's
now,
that.
Rusty has emphasized yet again before Terminator.
I don't know of any before Terminator other than the writings of like Isaac Asimov and some of
Right.
those
No
guys.
movie, but books.
Right,
In
no
books,
movies.
it was a concept way before it ever came out.
Wait, time out. When did Planet of the Apes come out?
1968.
Yeah, that was.
So Planet of the Apes kind of touched on that a little bit with the whole going back in time to fix the monkey population.
Mm-mm. Wait, what?
Didn't Planet of the Apes deal with the whole timeline effect with the guy went through the wormhole and he came out into like a different timeline where the apes actually evolved and humans did not, or something of that
Okay,
effect?
I watched the Planet of the Apes. I can't tell you how many times with my mom, and apparently I never saw the first episode because I had no idea. It was there had to have been a time travel relation in there because the Statue of Liberty
Right,
was buried on the
right,
beach, right?
right.
But I guess I just thought a catastrophic event occurred and he somehow survived it and ended up waking up or being found alive after a certain amount of time where the apes had evolved
And
further.
Kathy made the comment about RoboCop and Total Recall. I think both of those were after.
After,
Well, they were after, but they had nothing to do with time travel. RoboCop was just a guy. I mean, now when you talk about like AI, when you talk about that subject, AI in RoboCop, they merged him with a machine, Murphy. They made him actually the RoboCop.
Yep.
And the fear in that with Ed 209 losing his shit and killing that guy at the beginning, was that. But Total Recall was also not a time travel one. That was about
That was
about
virtual.
mind control and virtual reality, essentially.
Yeah. Virtual reality through chemical injection.
Yeah. And then, because then, like, is he Quaid? We don't know.
We don't know.
Open your mind, Quaid.
Enter your zip code. What?
All right, let's jump over to a couple other stories here. Now this one's going to, this story is, I thought about Deb when I saw this story. Taco Tuesday owners firing back after Taco Bell's trademark challenge. Did you know that Taco Tuesday was actually trademarked by Taco John's?
We talked about this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember talking about
Who's not reading the show prep now?
This was
Okay,
never in
I
the
don't
show.
know that we talked about the actual trademark, but we did talk about the debate over Taco Tuesday, whether or
We
not it was
did talk about-
copyrighted, because it came up that they were going to sue and they said you can't use it anymore. And we talked about how dumb that was, but we didn't talk
did
about the
talk
fact that
about
it
it.
was copyrighted.
Because I was making the joke about the fact that one Taco John's on one side of Paducah was good, but you couldn't go to that one. You had to go to the other one. Yeah, because remember we got into the whole big fast food chain thing.
Oh, I must not have been listening to you that day,
I
Brian.
must
my
not have been
gosh,
listening
you all
either
just
because I don't
See,
remember.
this is why this is my show. Thank you, Knights, and thank you, Rusty. This is why this
Wait,
is my show. You're not paying attention.
you're thinking Knights? That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
If he's
all
even
right.
listening now.
He's not.
He's
It's too late in the
probably
day.
not listening because if
Right?
it's your show, it sucks. All right. Let's see. So Yum Brands Inc. Taco Bell, the largest Mexican fast food chain in the U.S., asked the trademark office on Monday to cancel its smaller competitors' Taco Tuesday trademark registrations, accusing them of wrongly monopolizing the use of a generic phrase in the restaurant industry. Nobody should have exclusive rights in a common phrase, the petition said. Can you imagine if we weren't allowed to say what's up or brunch chows? Chow?
Chow.
Is CHAOS? Is that how you do chow? Yeah.
Brunch chows. No, chow is CIAO if you're saying bye, but if you're saying brunch chows, that's a term and it's CHOWS.
Oh, it's spelled here CHAOS, so that threw me off. Taco John's noted on Friday that it has held the federal trademark for 34 years. It rejected the argument that the phrase Taco Tuesday is too common to warrant trademark protection and said its trademark does not prohibit petitioner or anyone from advertising and selling tacos on Tuesday.
Well, that's good to know because I'm kind of wanting a taco right now.
Oh my gosh, I could eat Taco Bell any day.
I know, right?
God. Okay, now I just have diarrhea. Brunch chowder. What?
Okay, so anybody now, I don't know where everybody in the audience from, but somebody mentioned, do we have anybody from California listening right now? Erica, do you know?
Audrey's in the D Live if she's still there. She's in California.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Audrey's in California.
Could be California.
Let's see. Roger Rabbitson on YouTube. There we go. What did he say here? The kind of diss that with happy hour to an extent, you aren't supposed to advertise happy hour anymore. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bill AB 65. Have you all heard about this?
No.
Bill AB 65 out of California. Earlier this week, Democrats in California State Senate passed a controversial new bill, AB 665. I'm sorry, it's AB 665. Allows the removal of children age 12 and up from their parents' home without a court order. So this is reform. Let's see here. It says existing law for some purposes authorizes a minor who is 12 years of age or older to consent to mental health treatment or counseling on an outpatient basis or to residential shelter services if the minor is mature enough to participate intelligently in the outpatient services or residential shelter services as specified, and either the minor would present a danger of serious physical or mental harm to themselves or to others, or if the minor is the alleged victim of incest or child abuse. For other purposes, existing law authorizes a minor who is 12 years of age or older to consent to mental health treatment or counseling services if the minor is mature enough to participate intelligently in the outpatient services or counseling services. So essentially, now we understand if a child is in physical or mental harm, if they're being beaten by their parents or there's some kind of issue where they have to be removed from their home, then absolutely. But this is pushing towards the ability for kids to be removed from their homes because they're going by a different pronoun. They want to undergo sexual treatment
And their parents don't want them to.
And their parents do not want them to. So now California is passing the law or amending their law to ensure that kids can make this decision on their own at 12 years of age or older and be removed from their parents' home because their parents aren't inclusive or allowing them to have their gender change occur.
Well, I just want it to be said right now that we need to take a stance as the breakdown that every third grader knows exactly what kind of life decisions they need to make for themselves and should not be questioned by somebody as silly as a parent.
Okay. Well, I agree with you. But we let them at the age of 12 decide which parent they want to live with. We let them
with court supervision.
Well, this would obviously be with some sort of a court order. I mean, they would have to say they want it. There's got to be paperwork if it's DCFS or whatever, right? I mean, you're going to have to go through. It's saying that if they're mature enough, well, somebody's going to have to deem whether or not they're mature enough. So they're going to have to go through some kind of psychological evaluation or whatever it is. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's not a step too far based on what we already allow them to decide at that age.
I disagree completely.
You think it's a huge jump? I don't think either of them are right.
Because even in a situation where even a child that's 14, 15 years old that wants to become emancipated, the amount of legal hoops and loops that they have to go through to make that happen, even if you're talking about a broken home where the child gets to have some say and some input into which home, the court can still override that and say, look.
Wait, did I miss? Is there no court involved in this decision, Aaron? Did I miss that? They can do it without. They can just do it if the child says they want it.
It says here that it is without a court order.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Brian. I missed that part. You're right.
Yeah.
That's completely insane.
Okay. Okay.
I missed that part. I didn't understand it was without a court order. I just assumed the child could at 12 say, "I want this," and then the court could get involved, and DCSF would be involved, and they were giving them the option to do this at the age of 12. That's not much further than the child at 12 being able to say, "I want to sue my parents for making me be born," or "I want to sue my parents because they won't," whatever. That's not a step much further than where we're already at with what we let them decide at the age of 12.
Correct.
But I didn't understand there was no court order involved. Sorry.
Yeah, but even now with the kangaroo courts that we have and the justices and some of the things that some of the liberal judges are putting into play, I don't even know if that's much of a protection anymore.
It's not. I don't even think the court should be involved in those types of decisions. It's insane to me that it even gets involved.
I think the biggest affront to this whole thing is the fact that they're going against the wishes of the parents. Now, I understand that not all parents are good parents. I understand that not all parents know what's best for the kids. But the issue that you're completely neutering the rights of a parent.
Neuter.
Into what their children can do, what their children can say, where their children can go, what kind of drugs they can administer to the children. I'm having a real tough time.
The children don't belong to the parents. We just have them.
No, and see, everybody made fun of Hillary Clinton 40 years ago or 20 years ago when she said it takes a village to raise a child.
No,
now,
it does not.
That is the motto of everything that we do.
It takes a parent to raise a child.
It does.
That's it.
It takes two parents to raise a child. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I believe that's the design that God made for it. And I'm not
the design.
I'm not saying that there's not some well-adjusted kids out there who were raised in one-parent homes, but I am saying that the main goal and the main design of our society should be to have two-parent families
Right. It's
raising
just
every
natural for
child.
me to say parent as I am only one.
I
So,
understand,
you know,
and I did not mean to. I did not mean to
there's
call
just
you out on that. Sorry.
Oh man,
what I mean is parents, right? Obviously, right?
Right.
That's
I
who should
gotcha.
be raising the child, the parent. One, two. I didn't mean to imply that one is good enough.
I understand. I understand.
It's natural for me to say
Well,
that.
well,
Yeah,
you
I
probably had
just
a lot of fights over that, I'm sure.
well, no, because I would never say that's ideal. I don't think you can do it, but I think with the right support system, being male involvement in the child's life, that it's possible to be okay. That's all.
I understand. I do understand that completely. But I
But
think
no, it's
there's
not natural or normal or correct.
right. Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you can have now, though. I mean, you can have, by addressing parents by gender roles or gender identifiers. It's very offensive, Brian. I mean, you just said, two-parent home. Now, are we talking about a man, woman, woman,
See, I
cis
knew you
man,
were going to
cis
bring
woman,
that up, and I
No, if
started.
we're
I
talking
started.
about by God's design, then it has to be man and
I
woman.
started to clarify before I realized I probably just pissed all over Erica. So
No, you didn't at all. You
Okay.
didn't at all.
Okay.
It's fine. Obviously, you're correct. It's not always the first way it comes out of my mouth.
It's no, I
Erica,
get
don't
it.
apologize to Brian. Stop with this slobberfest snowflake apologies from the two of you.
not.
Oh, I'm sorry, Erica. I didn't mean to step on you. Oh, that's all right, Brian. Occasionally when I say something,
I
whatever.
just
Stop
am
it right
not
now.
I'm not one of those people that stands on that pedestal like I did it by myself and it was amazing and you have to give me yeah, I don't play that game. So, I didn't want it to sound like I was offended by what he was saying cuz
What the
I'm
crap
not.
is happening right now? But you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry. If you're offended, be offended. If you're not offended, don't worry about it. It's
Aaron,
No,
he's sucking up.
I don't
He's
want
sucking up
anyone
to
to
the
ever
host.
No, oh my God, no. Okay, what's happening is I don't want any comment anywhere in any chat to say that did you see Erica's feminism on the show today? Yeah, no, that's not a thing.
That's funny. That's funny.
There you go.
God.
Had to chat to the host right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't even see it from where I'm sitting. So okay.
Oh man. Okay, now continuing with that. So they're talking. What's crazy about California is California passed a law that said anybody under the age of 25 cannot undergo specific interrogations by police officers because the essentially a person has their sort of frontal cortex. What is it? Not the cerebral cortex, the frontal lobe of their brain. Yeah. Where they see, I'm 42 and my brain still isn't working correctly. But that is like your ability to reason and function has not completely developed until you're 26. Therefore,
In males, yeah, 26. In females, it's about 24, roughly. But yeah.
well, Newsom signed a law, and this was back in October of last year. Now, it prohibits deceptive interrogation of youth. Now, I think deceptive interrogation should stop as well. I don't think that. I think what you need to know, regardless of what age you are, is don't talk to the police.
Ever.
Don't talk to the police. Whatever they want to say, don't talk to them. Where's my lawyer? If you're underage, where are my parents?
Aaron, did you know
keep your mouth?
Time out. Did you know that if you're underage, your parent they are not required to call or notify your parents?
I don't care.
No,
My
I'm saying,
kids know that
did
they're
you
not
understand?
supposed
No, what I'm telling you is if your child is 16
In
years
what
old
state?
in Kentucky,
And what age again?
if your child is 16 years old and gets pulled over by the police and for some reason gets arrested, they are not required to notify the parents.
Well, no, yeah, no, they're not. They're only required to notify the parents if you are injured. If you are involved in an accident or you're involved in something, they're required to notify the
If you're
parents
arrested,
before
they
they
don't
can.
have to notify you of
No,
any.
they don't. You get a phone call. You notify your parents, you idiot. You got arrested.
Well, but my point being is that's why, and I'm not going to go into the whole spiel about it, but That's why a lot of legal representatives will tell you your children need to be covered by and know how to get in touch with the attorney if necessary, because they are not required to notify you of anything, including if your child is being detained.
Correct. Your child needs to know their rights.
And if
That's
I'm
how
not
that
mistaken,
works.
that is in Indiana and Ohio as well.
Yeah,
Try
that's
to
true.
find that law for me as well. Try to pull that up.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Erica.
No, you're fine. I just think you're trying to be responsible. Teach your children what their rights are. If they're stopped by the police, if they're questioned by an officer, they should know what their rights are. And if you're not teaching them that, it's your fault.
Right. 100%.
So right now that we're talking about parental responsibilities, you have to teach your kids. Like I've taught my kids, don't talk to the police, ask for your attorney, call your parents. Those things you have to do those things. Your kids have to be told how to function if something like that happens, because obviously if something like that happens, regardless of the reason, you do not want to speak at all to the police. Now the cops will try to bust you. They'll try to get you to say things. They'll try to get you to confess the things. They'll use end runs around you to try to outsmart you. It's all garbage. Don't talk to the police. Make sure you have attorneys present there. And we're talking about parental responsibility, teaching our kids and making sure what they understand, making sure that they know how to do things. So tech company, this is interesting. In Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, of course we know who that is. She's Mike Huckabee's daughter, and also she was the press secretary for Donald Trump at one point. Let me pull this back up. Where to go? I got a lot of tabs open up right now. Just a second. She actually signed into law that parents need to give consent for teens to get social media. And that law is now in the crosshairs of a tech trade group called NetChoice, which filed a lawsuit against it. According to a press release from NetChoice, the group filed a lawsuit yesterday. While the law was signed by Sanders in April and does not go into effect until September 123, NetChoice is a self-described nonprofit group of tech companies that represents TikTok, Airbnb, Google, Amazon, PayPal, and Meta. The law, known as SB 396 or the Social Media Safety Act, would require social media platforms to verify the age of all users and any users under the age of 18. And it would require parental consent before creating an account. NetChoice argues that SB 396 is a threat to the privacy and online safety of Arkansans, especially children and teenagers, since the law would require social media platforms to use a third party to run age verification checks. So,
why is that a threat?
Why are the tech companies saying it's a threat?
Yeah, I don't understand why they're saying it's a threat to the kids, because they have to use a third party to verify their age. I mean,
privacy.
Everybody does that.
Yeah, but I think it would be for privacy. Now,
well,
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Then don't go on there if you're worried about giving your information.
So well, let's do an impromptu. What you thinking right now?
Is access to TikTok a right? What are we talking about here?
Yes,
if you
just
want
like internet's a right, and housing is a right, and they're making everything a right now. So that's the point, Erica, is that our society is moving. You know this, but our society is moving to a place where everything is arbitrarily being considered a human right.
Well,
and so that means the government no, it's not. But now the government has to provide that for you. So they have to provide internet for everybody. They have to provide healthcare for everybody. They have to provide housing for everybody. They have to provide a living wage for everybody. That's what we're getting to, the point where it goes back to what we said at the beginning of the show. They are reconstructing society to be government centric.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't want to talk about revolution on the air, so I'm gonna hold that comment.
Well, that'll get us kicked off of YouTube again. So
you know what? We're probably gonna we'll still have D Live. We'll have D Live.
We'll still have D Live.
I'm gonna have to get like 17 more monitors to be able to monitor everything that we're on while we're on the show. This is crazy.
Well, the chat here on Restream is picking up D Live. You
It
see
is.
what
I
I'm
Yeah,
see
saying?
that. I see
it
that too.
is. But
Yeah.
none of us are in D Live except for maybe Aaron. I'm gonna have to go follow you in D Live because usually I'm only on there for Rhea. So,
Yeah, do
I
that over there.
didn't
That'd be
even know
great.
D Live existed until you said it this morning. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, D Live. My daughter taught me about D Live. It's for gamers, Brian.
Yeah, I've seen some really successful.
so is Discord, but I'm not in Discord either. So
Yeah. So I was paying attention to the chat over here, responding to a couple of things. So here let's do an impromptu. What you thinking? So what do you think I'm thinking? Actually, you know what? Screw that. I'll just go ahead and tell you. Unless y'all want to do it, what you thinking?
No, go ahead.
This law that Sanders is signed into law, it's the same kind of bull crap that her centrist, limp-wristed father does too. It's the same kind of bull crap that Trump tried to pull. This stuff is not the government's responsibility
Agreed.
to acquire a tech company to monitor these things. Do you know whose
Right.
responsibility it is?
The
It's
parents.
parents' responsibility.
100%.
Right.
The parents, like if a child comes to you and says, I'm 13, I think I'm old enough for this social media, you say no.
You say no.
And if they sign up for it without your permission, let me ask you a question. What parent in this chat and what parent listening has never or doesn't regularly go through their child's phone? My children have passcodes on their phone. They don't know each other's. Both myself and my wife know their passcodes because I told them, I was like, if you put a passcode on that phone, I need to know it. Otherwise, I'm shutting your phone off. I can go
Dude,
into
I
my
have
kid's
Life
phone.
360. Do you have that?
I have so on Apple, it's screen time. So I have set up requirements where if they go to an app store and download an app. Now my oldest daughter, she's 17 now. She's about to be 18, so we've removed a lot of these restrictions for her. But whenever they requested an app, it sent me a request, and I
Yeah.
reviewed the app and decided whether or not I wanted them to download it.
I have capabilities for that. And I also, I mean, my children are both adult aged, right? But I still have Life 360, and if they turn it off, I will kill them. Like, I don't know what they're thinking if they think they can turn it off. But I can see them. I can see if they're at work, I can zoom in and see if is their car in the driveway. I can see everything. So don't tell me, just tell me where you're going. And I want to be able to check and make sure that you're okay.
This is Erica Sauer, helicopter mom, reporting on the traffic today. My kids seem to be stationary at their jobs. Oh, one of them turned off Live 360. They shall be terminated.
Yep.
Yep. Send in the Terminator.
Yep.
Oh man.
Because if tell me anything, I'd rather hear something bad than have you trying to not be safe.
I had
somebody
someone
watching your back.
recently. I had someone recently in my friend circle want me to let them be on my 360, or I'm not on 360, but they wanted me to share my location with them, and I'm like, why?
Well, see that. Okay, hold on.
So I'll know where you are, and I'm like, no,
Here's the
it's none of your
difference.
business where I am.
It's not like I'm trying to see, are you where you said you were going to be? And if you're not, then when you come home, you're in trouble. I don't even discuss it. I'm not like driving over there if they're at Riley's house instead of Caitlin's house. And I was told I'm not getting in the car. I'm not even making a phone call at that point. I don't care. You're adults, but I want to know that you're safe. And if 17 hours go by and you're not answering your cell phone, I want to ping it and be able to check that you're okay. I'm not being a
Yeah,
helicopter.
but see,
I'm not interfering. I just need to make sure people are okay.
As a 47-year-old or 48-year-old male, I have been, pretty self-sustaining most of my life. And so for someone to demand that
I'm not demanding it.
No,
They're
not
older.
you, not you. I'm just saying, but for someone to demand, well, tell me when you leave and tell me when you get there. And I mean,
What are you talking about? Who would be doing this? Like, there's nobody in your life right now.
I understand the sweetness of, I just want to make sure you're okay. But there's something else that's a little more creepy to someone who is not in a romantic relationship with me or not familiar with me, to want to know where I am, how I am, when I am. I'm just not cool with that.
Who was this that
Okay,
asked
I
that?
think
It's not important who it was. I'm not going to go there, but it does. I'm just.
I mean,
I
like, was this
really.
a member of your family or was this somebody in your church, like
it's
one of your parishioners?
not like in
It's not
all the
important. My
it's
point
not
being
like an
is.
all the time thing, Brian. Like, I'm not like wake up in the morning
Oh,
and,
I'm
"Oh
not
my
talking
god,
about
where
you.
are they?"
I'm
Right?
not talking about you at all right now, Erica. I think what you're doing is fantastic. I'm just saying
Of course it is.
that someone who is not family, Aaron, but someone who is not family, basically friends, they just want to make sure that. Well, I just want to make sure you get there okay. Well,
Hey,
okay.
don't say that in front of the Zoom room, guys, or they're not gonna let you in anymore. They all follow each other. They know where everybody is all the
Oh,
time.
do they really?
Wait
Okay.
a second.
Yep.
Hold on. Are you serious? Like, like on their phones, like they have it, like find a phone on their phones. They can find each other on there.
Yes. Yes.
My wife. That's all. My wife has that. I don't, and I don't mind it because car troubles, storms, anything like that. I don't mind her having that.
Right.
But I mean, if it's anybody outside my family, like I would allow my kids if they wanted to. Nah, maybe not. I have it on my kids. I can know where they are. My daughter's a new driver, so yeah, I'm fine with
See,
that.
Cougar says, "Damn Skippy."
Oh my
They can all
gosh.
follow each other. I don't
Why?
have it on. I don't use that. I'm not no,
Is that
I
a
have
requirement to hang out with that crew or what?
no. No, because I don't have it on.
So what would be the purpose of that, Cougar?
I think it's because a lot of them are truck drivers, so it's helpful for them. I actually don't know. I really don't know.
I mean,
I don't
far
wanna
be it
know.
from me to step into consenting adults and say, well, I can say something silly or stupid regardless if it's consenting adults or not. But I don't understand,
We
like,
make careers out of that, don't we, Aaron?
I'm trying, trying to, but
Right.
I don't understand the purpose of that. Like, if you're just hanging out in a chat room or talking or anything like that, it
I
doesn't.
think she's, like, saying they're all on the road. So,
Okay.
they're following on Google Maps where you accept friend requests on Google Maps, and then your car and their car, you could see where everybody is, but they're all driving, like, that's what they do for a living.
I
Huh.
know I can
So
share my location
I
on
don't
Google
want that
Maps,
much
but I
with
didn't
you,
I
buddy.
didn't know
yeah,
that
I
was
don't either.
I didn't know that was an ongoing thing that you could do regular.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't do that.
but again, again, I don't think it's a safety issue is not a problem. I guess it's when someone who I haven't offered that level of uh, I guess my inner circle to start asking. It takes on a whole different creepiness, you know.
I think there's a sort of stigma to it where you're like, that's the psycho girlfriend that is pulling up on you when you are 5 minutes late and
Yes,
they're
yes.
showing up where you are and being, "You said," "Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I'm just
like
talking about being safe." Like, for instance, my son they're always at the range or they run drills, they do stuff, they're out in the woods, they go camping in December for 5 days, right? And I might check and be like, "Are they still at the campground? Is everybody good?" Right? Because they don't have cell service, you don't hear a lot of stuff, right? But I can check.
Yeah.
Or, if they're at the age where I don't need a phone call if you're not coming home, you're allowed to live your life. But if I wake up in the morning, and the cars aren't in the driveway, I still will be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, like, is everything okay? Okay, fine." They're all at Nick's or they're all wherever. I don't care. I'm not calling. I'm not saying, "What? I can't believe you didn't come home last night. Why didn't you call me?" Because I'm not gonna wake up and hear that. I'm
Yeah.
really not. I'm not
I
gonna wake up
understand.
anyway. But if I wake up in the morning, I just wanna be like, "Is everybody cool?" I mean, stuff happens,
Just a daily check-in. I understand that. Yeah, absolutely. And especially, I mean, you have a daughter. She's 17 or 18.
She's 18,
Yeah.
but she just graduated from high school. Come on,
Same here. I mean, like my daughter she's about to go to college. So I'm in my dad brain. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to
Right.
be X miles away from me. I think I want to know where she is. I want to make sure she's okay. So you have all those fears and all that stuff. But I mean, like, I think it's a little more difficult when you have girls sending them out into the world
Right.
because of all the, just because of all the crap with the trafficking and all that nasty stuff that's been going on. Anyway, but let's switch gears a little bit here. Disgraced COVID czar Matt Hancock claims lockdowns weren't strict enough.
Oh, dear
Disgraced former Health Secretary Matt Hancock suggested that more stringent lockdown measures should have been imposed during the Chinese coronavirus crisis. Appearing before a public inquiry into the British government's handling of the Chinese coronavirus, the head of the response to COVID-19, Matt Hancock, admitted that the government's strategy was completely wrong. However, rather than admitting the failures of the communist Chinese-inspired strategy of locking down the country, the ex-health secretary suggested that the government should have imposed more draconian restrictions and instituted them quicker. It is central to what we must learn as a country that we've got to be ready to hit a pandemic hard, that we've got to be able to take action, lockdown action if necessary, that is wider, earlier, and more stringent than feels comfortable at the time. He told the inquiry, according to The Guardian. Despite arguing that lockdown should still be a central component of future pandemic planning, Hancock claimed that he understands deeply the consequences of lockdown and the negative consequences for many, many people, many of which persist to this day. He just doesn't give a flying crap about it. And he says here, continuing, can we buy enough body bags where are we going to bury the dead? And that was completely wrong, he said. Of course, it's important to have that in case you fail to stop a pandemic, but central to pandemic planning needs to be, how do you stop the disaster from happening in the first place? How do you suppress the virus? So here he is saying that we just didn't have enough draconian restrictions enacted fast enough to stop the pandemic, and that's why the response was bad.
It's insane. It's insane. We have evidence in the exact opposite direction from everything that they did.
Yep.
Mentally, physically, economically, every single thing was a mistake. And it's already been discussed. Who even cares what these people are saying anymore? Seriously. I'm sorry. Bryan, I need to read more scripture because I really have no empathy for idiots anymore.
Well,
If you're
you know,
not,
I'm in the same
you
boat
got to
that you
get to a
are.
point. You got to get to a point where you're like, okay, none of this makes sense, but I'm going to keep going down the road of it. There must be something. And then I can't with that.
Well, I actually had a very serious theological conversation with two pastor friends of mine this week about my lack of sympathy or empathy for people who keep getting into issues and doing stupid things over and over and over again. I'm struggling because as a spiritual leader, I'm sitting here trying to figure out why I'm not more caring toward their situation. And it's bothering me that it's not bothering me, if that makes sense.
Well, that and the fact that I'm almost convinced that God created Darwinism.
Well, there is something to be said for the gene pool thinning itself. And that's probably something that I'm not real happy about.
Because survival of the fittest occurs in nature. It doesn't just occur among the human race. It occurs in nature. You know what? Oh, yeah, God, I almost said something really bad. Let's have an offline discussion later.
You should say it. Say it. Just say it now.
Yeah, just say it. It's not. It's
don't.
So
be a chicken,
I'm right there with
Hold
you.
on, Bryan. Bryan, don't say anything. Erica, say it. Come on, you can do it.
Do it. Complete your training.
I think that type of thing that does not occur in nature is inherently unnatural. And in the same way that what we're talking about does not only occur in the human race, it occurs outside of it. I think that there are things that don't occur outside the human race that in that respect are wrong. That in nature, that action or activity or behavior is treated as dangerous and not purposeful, and those animals in nature are eliminated by the herd.
So you're saying that we should eliminate more people then? So you're talking
I'm saying that it's okay if people choose to eliminate themselves because they cannot survive.
If you have somebody like somebody that wants to cut off their testicles and cut off their penis and have breast implants and try to perform plastic surgery and body mutilation to become the opposite sex, what you have now done is you have stopped that gene pool from procreating. So odds are that if there's a child that pops out, odds are they're not going to be like that because they've eliminated their ability to procreate.
Well, that's fine, but in nature, that the person who or the animal that wants to do that or behaves in such a manner is abandoned by the herd
Okay, so
because it's not instinct. Their instinct is to not accept that behavior.
let's take
There's
this
no
to the most,
homosexuality in nature. Okay.
let's take this to the
That's
most
what you were. I
rudimentary.
was just fine. Fine. You just finally said it. I appreciate the fact. I knew where you were going.
Well, let's take this to the most rudimentary aspect of something. If you see somebody walking into a dangerous situation, and I'm just gonna this is gonna be completely asinine, but I'm gonna say this. So somebody's walking into a burning building. Okay, they want to walk into this burning building, and you save them, and you say, "Don't do that. It's hot in there. Don't go back." And then 5 minutes later, you turn around and they're walking back into the burning building. How many times? And this was the question I asked my pastor friends. How many times am I required to reach out to that person and try to save them from their own stupidity
Oh my God.
before I'm
Isn't
like,
it
you know what?
70 times 7
No,
or
that's
whatever?
forgiveness.
Oh,
That's
okay.
forgiveness.
Okay.
Okay. But thank you. That's a good scripture reference. Congratulations. You picked it up. Good job. But what is my limitation before, look, you're not paying attention, you're not doing what you need to be doing. I cannot deal with this any longer. I've got to move on to something else.
I don't know, but isn't that also in the Bible that you're supposed to, isn't that, you've said that before. If you are presenting the information to a person who is well-minded, then and they don't listen to you, move on to the next one.
No, I totally agree with the concept, but now we're talking about life or death. We're talking about somebody who is drinking themselves to death, or they're shooting up drugs to the point where they're
I
going to kill
don't think
themselves.
that
Or
you can, the only part of that you're responsible for is doing something. If you've done something, you can't just do nothing. That's irresponsible. And then if you
Agreed.
have the capacity to try, but if you've tried, once you've tried, their life is no longer your responsibility. You have
I
to try.
totally agree with that. But my concern is,
how many times do you have to do something?
yeah, what is it? What is a good effort? What is a try?
Until you can't anymore. You can only try as much as you can try. When you can't try
Yeah, but see,
anymore,
I'm
then you
personally
have to
getting
let it go.
frustrated in some of these situations.
That's the part where it's hard. Like when I say things like, I don't like people and or I'm nice to people, but I don't want to be. And I'm mad that I have to be because I know that it's the right thing to do. So,
Right. I understand.
I'm upset that I know that I have to be nice and I don't want to be. I'm mad that I have to be.
You mad that you have to be nice to people?
Yeah. Oh, I go through that sometimes. I'm like, I know it's the right thing to do, to be nice to people, but I don't want to, and I'm mad that I have to.
I can appreciate that.
So you're saying, Erica, you exhaust every single possibility that you can muster and exhaust in order to save somebody in that situation. I'm going to take a picture of us for social media. Everybody smile. Bam. I'll post that up later.
I think you have to until you can't try anymore. Especially Brian, in your position, you're saying this is your calling, right? Like I have to try way less than you do. You have to try a lot more.
Our quota is much less than yours because you're a bastard.
Yeah. So yeah, well,
right. I mean, so you have that specific sort of stone hanging around your neck as far as did you give your all?
I will tell anybody out there who is considering going into full-time ministry, you and I need to have a conversation before you do, because there's a lot of things that no one tells you about prior to that engagement that you need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And it's worth it. It is. And I'm enjoying everything that's going on, but
it's
at
rewarding.
times it gets stressful. It gets very stressful. So,
yeah, Brian, we're like the peons. We're like the customer service that gets the phone call, and then you're the elevated management. We're like, oh, you know what? I don't deal with this guy anymore.
I want to talk to your manager.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have the authority to do that, but let me transfer you to my supervisor.
Yeah, exactly. 100% exactly. That's exactly what happens. Yes.
Okay, gentlemen, I need to go.
All righty. That sounds great. I was actually about to get into another story here, but
No,
I guess we
do so. Don't let me
I'll
kill
stick
the
around,
buzz.
Aaron. Go ahead, Bubba.
well, how much time do you have left, Erica? You got to go like right now?
No, I'll give you five
Okay,
minutes.
good deal. A right-wing Christian hate group is behind a host of illegal efforts to roll back abortion rights, remove anti-LGBTQ protections, and demonize trans people. Has had a huge increase in its funding and funneled some of that money to a slew of smaller anti-LGBTQ plus and anti-abortion groups across the U.S., The Guardian can reveal. The Alliance Defending Freedom is a registered nonprofit behind the continuing 303 creative Supreme Court cases that could chip away LGBTQ rights, surged by more than $25 million between 2020 and 2021, a period in which a right-wing obsession with transgender rights and sexual orientation led to almost 200 anti-LGBTQ plus bills being introduced in states around the U.S. Now, the Alliance Defending Freedom is defined as a hate group and an anti-LGBTQ hate group working to build a movement of far-right legal groups to force a dangerous, unpopular agenda on Americans. That's what accountable.us says about them. I saw this and I was like, it says here that there was a period in which a right-wing obsession with transgender rights and sexual orientation. I don't see a right-wing obsession with transgender rights or sexual orientation.
I don't
I
either.
see a left-wing obsession with these things, right? Am I wrong on that?
No, they're obsessed with it. We just want to be left alone. We just don't want it shoved down our throats all the time or have it mandated that we have to somehow celebrate it or wear it on our clothing or have our kids subjected to it in school. We're not.
Well, I'm going to say this again. We talked about this offline, and I know Aaron probably wanted to touch this a little bit. We never got to it yet, but about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, the gay San Francisco choir came out with the song "We're Coming for Your Children," and they wrote it off as satirical. They wrote it off as just playing on, that it was basically the fears of the right wing conspiracy folks and da 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 da. Well, just recently in New York, and we're talking about a week ago, in New York when they had the Gay Pride Parade or the Pride Parade, they were quoting and chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children."
That was disgusting.
Here's
I
the
saw
thing,
that
folks.
video. It just makes
They
me so
are
angry.
Do you have that video? Did somebody post that? One of y'all post that in our private chat?
I posted
don't
it in
think
our private chat,
I was
believe.
going to say I didn't post it in the private chat. I tweeted it, but I did not post it for us.
But the thing is that they can argue all day long that this is not an agenda. But again, I was talking with a bunch of pastors on Thursday, and we were talking about the fact that in public school systems they are coming for your children. This is now top agenda. This is now top tier. This is first thing on the row. Is that in kindergarten? There are no boys and girls. There's in Kentucky, of all places, in Kentucky, there was a student who was suspended because he would not refer to his classmate as a cat.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is happening in levels that are even very conservative states. This is becoming an issue where they are coming for the children. They're saying the quiet part out loud. Their obsession is our obsession with morality.
It's the last piece, okay? It
It
doesn't
is.
even matter about the morality because it isn't even necessarily the morality that they're against. It's just an impediment for them, right?
Right.
Like they need to take you from birth to death. You are the worker. You're the worker ant. You're the worker bee. They need you for that, right? So when you have the one world order or when you have the elite class or when you finally take over the whole world and make it socialist, communist, whatever name you want to put on it, it's about one group controlling the rest of the human population for their own benefit. And it isn't going to matter, right?
Right.
If you want to call it they're against your morality, they need you from childhood, they need the media, and they need the government. And when they have all three, it's easy. Look at how easy it is just having one generation People locked themselves in their homes just because somebody told them to, and it was fake, and they're still not going to conceptualize the fact that they were duped.
And
If
I
you
don't
start
like,
in kindergarten, it's over.
let me see here. I'm gonna share this real quick because I found that this isn't Brian. You mentioned years ago, but this is something that recently happened this week. It's saying here in the story that this is on the New York Post. The controversial, let's see here, LGBTQ activists participating in New York City's annual drag march on Friday sparked outrage for chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children" in a Manhattan park. This
Right.
was June 24th, 2023.
Yeah, that was recently. I'm talking about the San Francisco Gay Choir, and I've got
Well,
it
hold
if
on
you
just a
listen
second.
to it.
And forget what they did years ago. This just happened.
Yes.
This just happened like
No,
last week. So here's the video. It's the drag march. Where's the actual video for them chanting this? I'm sorry. It says we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. In a Manhattan park, the marchers, many wearing flamboyant dresses and clothing, walked through Tompkins Square Park in the East Village, Village Friday night as part of one of the Pride Month celebrations. Video of the march shows people laughing and joining in with a cheeky chant, including one dancing topless woman. Others can be heard chanting, "We're here, we're queer, we're not going shopping." The festive marchers continued, ending their march in the iconic Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village. It incensed conservatives who condemned the marches. As the video spread on social media, this movement grooms minors and to have mastectomies and castration and fuels a multi-billion-dollar medical child abuse industry. MTG said.
Here it is. You want me to put it in the chat?
Yeah, are you able to? Yeah,
Or
go ahead
like,
and put it in the chat.
I'll put it in our chat in Messenger.
You can share it if you want.
I think she's on her cell phone, so she can't.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up off my phone.
Yeah, drop it in Facebook chat. I've got it pulled up here.
Aaron, what I was trying to say earlier was the fact that the Christian conservatives and the right wing of this country has come out for years and said this is going to be a problem. They're coming for our children. They're going to hurt our kids. They're trying to change, and for years and years and years, the gay community has said no, that's not it. We just want our own rights. We want to do it our way. We want to do marriage our way. We want to have relationships our way. This is nothing about your kids. Well, about 2 years ago, the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir came out with the proper what they called satire at the time. It was supposed to be a comic they called it satire, but it wasn't comedy at all. But basically, the title of the song was "We're Coming for Your Children." We're going to teach them how to love properly. We're going to teach them how to be accepting and open to all ways of life and this, that, and the other. And so they threw it out there as if it was satirical and that they was just playing on the fears of the right wing. Okay. Now it's moved to the point where in New York, they are arguing they're coming for your children. They're saying it out loud. They're making it very obvious that's going to be the case. That was my point. I was talking about the progression of it.
Yeah. Do you have this video that you have up there, Brian? Is that something about this, or
that's the gay choir one that I've got up there? If you want it,
here's what Erica posted here. Oh wow, that is disturbing.
It is.
That is highly disturbing.
It's enraging, and the way she puts her hand, "We're coming for your children." Like, are we kidding? They're just saying it out loud.
Yeah, they're just saying it out loud. Yep.
It's not even. How are you denying it at this point?
Well, there is no denying it at this point. At this point, they're saying again. Look, I hate to keep going back and giving dittos to the late great Limbaugh, but Rush made the comment many years ago that once the gay community has the ability to do same sex marriages, then Katie bar the door because all hell will break loose.
Yeah.
And this is not just about gay marriage. This is about the open acceptance of every possible lifestyle that any perverse mind can come up with.
Yep. You can marry
And
a
he said
child.
this,
You can marry a
back
horse.
in, we're talking back like in 97, 98 is when he was talking about this. And I remember the first time I ever listened to Glenn Beck's program, or one of the first few shows that I ever watched. So this was probably, good Lord, almost 20 years ago. He did this long discussion on a Friday afternoon about how that he had fallen in love with this person and that he knew that society wouldn't recommend it. He knew that society would turn it away. And he kept saying throughout the entire program, if you cannot listen to the entire program, today is not a good day to listen to this program. But he had spent that whole week, every day before that week, and he was talking about how to literally change society. And if you take control of the language, if you take control of the vocabulary. And at the end of the week on this Friday, he did this culmination program and he drew it out. And he's a fantastic storyteller. He drew it out to the point where he was making the comment that he had fallen in love with his sister. And he was getting all kinds of hate calls and all kinds of hate emails. And finally, somebody calls in and says, man, I am so glad that you've had the guts to come out and just embrace this love. This is, and finally he goes, that's it. That's the one I was waiting for. And it was all a ploy to get one person to agree. He said, I've changed the minds of people just through this argument today. And that's exactly what they're doing, is they're making it normalized. They're normalizing all of this. It's in TVs, it's in movies, it's in freaking comic books, it's everywhere you look, to the point where it's not even offensive anymore.
It's a playbook. You can read it. You can write it, and well, I'm going to just say we're falling for it because we might know it. We're sitting here talking about it, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Well, and that is the question.
I mean,
What
you
are
have
the
your
things-
own struggles just with helping the people that you want to help. Now
Yeah.
try going to help the people you don't give a shit about. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, like at this point, you just you do a Saturday show at 9 a.m. You go 3.5 hours, or almost 3 hours.
I gotta
and 45
go.
minutes.
Longer.
You got to take off. I mean, I gauge my time on when my wife's ready to go. So like, I'm just sitting here continually talking. But anyway, all right, folks, everybody over on D Live that's joined in with us, we really appreciate it. That was our first time over there. Looks like it's a smash hit. Got a bunch of subs over there this morning. Also, we may lose our YouTube, so we might have to lean on that heavy. All right, everybody, thanks so much for staying with us. Don't forget to share the show, tell everybody about it. And over on D Live, you have the ability to give different types of gifts like lemons, ice cream, diamonds, ninja guineas, ninjets, and crypto, all that stuff. So if you would like to, feel free to give us a little bit of money to help the program, the operation here. Also, you can go to breaktradio.com, and up at the top, you can click on donate, and that will allow you to donate through PayPal and through Buy Me a Coffee as well. And it gives you a little bit of information on the show too. So everybody enjoy your fantastic day. Erica, Bryan, don't go anywhere yet. You all enjoy your fantastic day. And until next time, make Christ supremely valuable. Peace.
Bye, y'all. Happy 4th.
Oh yeah. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Sorry for